Knicks family, what's popping with you? It's your boy. And I got Tony Crow, Joe Madden. We got Kevin in the building. We got Andy in the building. And we about to go ahead and get this thing popping off live, ladies and gentlemen, because training camp is here and we got like 4 days till we get to see the Knicks play. We ain't seen it's going to be almost a year, fellas. Almost a year. 9 months. 9 months since we got to see the Knicks play. It's a long time. Right? It's a long time, but training camp is here. And, let me start by saying this. This is how I want to start the show. Because I'm seeing so much stuff on Twitter, Facebook, all these places, all these rumors that are supposedly coming out of training camp. My question is how? And where is it coming from? Right? There's no reporters at training camp. We're in the middle of a pandemic. There's no reporters at training camp. So that means it's either coming from the players, it's coming from the coaches, or it's coming from the front office. And from everything that I've seen with this regime so far, they're tight-lipped. They're quiet. Right? We don't hear about a lot of stuff that supposedly is going to happen. Something just happens. So my question is, where is it coming from? Or is it just a fabrication of somebody's speculatory imagination? Feel me? That's all I got to say about that. But we're going to talk about some of this stuff anyway. You know, it's news and rumors, but let's talk about truth and rumors. Let's do that. You know, I don't want to turn speculation into the truth. Just want to talk about what really is, you know? So I'm going to start with Andy, and then I'm going to get around to Tony, Kev. Where's it coming from? And you say Andy's happy today. He's got the Steelers jersey, Steelers shirt on and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for the Steelers tonight, though, because it's tonight, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tonight, right? I'm rooting for the Steelers tonight because...
Sam, I'm giving you my undivided attention because at 5 o'clock, that's when the game starts. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right, 5 o'clock.
I'm putting my Knicks before my Steelers. So
yeah.
There you go.
5 o'clock. I forget. It's this weird, you know, it's weird crazy, schedule. Man. This weird schedule, right? Yeah. It's going to be crazy seeing the Washington football team and the Pittsburgh Steelers play at 5 o'clock. But we need the Steelers to win. Please. Please. Let us get a stranglehold on the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful win yesterday, by the New York Football Giants. But anyway, Andy, talk to me, man. Where are these rumors coming from, coming out of training camp? You know, where's it coming from? What is it?
Yeah, you know, so like you said, it's like no other possible way to come out except of the players, the GMs, the management, and you know, the coaching staff, right? I'm guessing the general managers, you know, and the coaches aren't speaking, you know, for that. So it's either the players or the agents probably, which know a little bit, you know, like in between info probably, right? So, and, you know, I'm guessing, you know, since they just signed the deals, it's like not many agents that have any interest in like spilling some rumors and having, you know, put out those fake things. So I'm actually, you know, thinking that this might be some fans just speculating like really hard and trying to get attention. You know, if they break that news, maybe not like break that news because they would have to know the news. If they like make it really happen, right? Just for, I don't know, some luck, like luck of the draw, right? And then make it happen. They're gonna get some street rep, right, on Twitter,
right? So. and that's what happens with, you know, with some people on Twitter. You know, they say something.
And they get famous really fast, right? So.
Yeah, you know, they say something, and if they're wrong, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right?
it's not like me on draft night, right? No, I got everything sorted out. So
right, because 95% of the stuff that you hear on Twitter is wrong anyway.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
maybe not 95% of the stuff, but a lot of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? But if they get it right, then, oh, snap, this person is in the know. Right? Like the whole thing with Buddy Hield, it started from some dude. I don't know who it is. Some dude who tweeted out the Knicks and Sacramento's in discussion for Buddy Hield. Da 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 and blam blam. Right? And I'm looking at it like, who is this guy? Then all of a sudden, it shoots around Twitter, bam, just like that.
Yeah, and to make it more credible, like they match the salaries and like so it's a realistic trade.
Exactly. Exactly.
And added this kind of piece. If you add Frank to the trade, trade offer, then you got at least half of the Knicks fan base there. So
exactly.
How does it work with that?
And it just kills me because then what happens? Because, hold up, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? And then what happens is somebody, because the rumor is going around, the Ian Begley, he does his report and he says, Sacramento was looking for offers for Buddy Hield. Then he says, it's unknown whether or not the Knicks have interest. Right?
Yeah.
And if they did, if they would give up a first-round draft pick for him. Well, you know what? I know. I'm going to say I know. I don't think they have interest.
Exactly.
I really don't.
When you add like the first-round pick, like or even a pick consideration, right? I think there were better players out there in this free agency window, right? That the Knicks weren't, willing to part ways with a draft pick.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking, they're going to do it for Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And I like the guy, the playing style and stuff, but, it's not like, it would make it done. So.
I mean, it just kills me sometimes. That whole Buddy Hield rumor started with some guy, and then it got legs. And when you start to really look at the information, you say, let's think about it. The Knicks didn't want to go 4 years for Gordon Hayward, right? They didn't want to go that long because they want to preserve their cap space. Obviously, they didn't want to go and do $30 million a year for him. When you look at the people that they brought in high character people. Mm-hmm. Buddy Hield, I mean, it's a little shaky.
Yeah, shaky, and he would be like one of the oldest, players on the Knicks squad currently. So
right. So
I don't know if that's a good mentor for the young guys, at least the younger guys, let's call it, because 5 years younger in the NBA, it's like younger guys. But to have that guy, like, I don't know, he's 27, right, or 28?
27, I think.
27. Yeah, 27. So he would be like almost just like Reg Bullock on the years old depth chart. So
yeah, so I don't know. I just didn't. It didn't add up to me, and I'm like, and then when I seen who did it, some guy that nobody really knows of, basketball, somebody. I'm like, yeah, okay, but it caught legs. Things like that happen. And then you get reports that come out, and I feel like sometimes people just are able to deduct information, right? Put things together and piece things together, and then they come out and they say, boom, here's this. Let me give you an example, right? A couple of weeks ago, I said on here, I said on Legion of Knicks podcast, I said on the NBK podcast that I believe, or I am nervous about the people that Mitchell Robinson have in his corner, right? The reason why I said that is not because somebody told me. It's because I know when he was drafted into the NBA, there were issues with his family and the college that he was supposed to go to, right? We know that there was issues there. Then, before we even heard about this latest agent change, he had 4 different agents. Right? So there's some things you can put together. Then we hear about Jeff Van Gundy, who, had some issues with his his discipline and his his craftsmanship on Team USA. Right? And then when you watch him train, you see videos of him training. It's always with, these YMCA kids or whatever, his friends and stuff like that. And that's cool. I have no problem with that, But it's easy to deduct from that information that maybe there are some, maybe you can be worried about his camp, right? Because you don't have 4 or 5 agents in 2 years and there not be some issues in your camp, right? So it's easy to deduct that information. And then all of a sudden it comes out, someone makes a report that, there's concern about Mitchell Robinson. Like, all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is, don't just believe anything that gets put out there. Just, figure out what the sources are, figure out what people are saying. Is it easy information, where you can really come up with something that sounds believable? Just pay attention to it. That's all. Because all these rumors coming out of camp, they started yesterday.
Yep.
They started yesterday.
Yep.
Well, I think a lot of it started before. Like, to me, then I don't know if the Knicks are really sold on it, because there's rumors coming out. Kev, I don't want you to get upset now, but there was rumors coming out that the Knicks were trying to shop him on draft night to go up to number 2. They were going to get the number 2 pick in Wiggins for 8 and Mitch, but they didn't want the Wiggins contract. They were going to go up and draft Wiseman.
Yeah, but
the Wiggins contract pushed him off.
But see, what I'm saying, Joe, is, sometimes, like, for example, we talked about that months ago, before the draft was even close, that the Knicks could think about trading Mitch to Golden State to try to get that number 2 pick. We talked about it months ago. A lot of times, streaming platforms like this and other podcasts will come up with ideas. The next thing you know, some major publication picks it up and says, here's this rumor.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's only, in these professional sports, for me, and Sim, you taught me this big time, there's only few voices that I listen to that are truth. I forget the guy's name in the NFL. I forget his name. I know he works for ESPN, but I forget his name. It's a shame. But in the NBA, if it's those two, and for us, it's Ian Begley.
Yeah.
That's
Ian Begley,
it.
Yeah.
Ian Begley. If I don't hear nothing from them, I don't believe it. And that also goes for your Mark Bermans, your Stephen Bondi's, all them haters. I call them haters.
Yeah.
All them. I might give Steve Popper maybe just a little bit of truth, but if it's not Ian Begley, if it's not Woj, if it's not Shams, I ain't listening to it.
And look, a lot of times with those guys, the Mark Bermans of the world, and those guys, they're gonna come up and say some stuff because they need to get some clicks out here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're trying to get their name out there.
I mean, but to be fair, like when you read a Mark Berman post, you can tell it's an opinion, right? You can tell it's an opinion. Putting his opinion out there.
Like he was saying, he was talking about Frank Ntilikina might be on the outside looking in. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, really?
But here's the thing. Who said that? Mark Berman?
Mark, yeah.
Here's the thing, though, right? It can be very easy to deduct that information. When you look at training camp and you look at the guards that they have at that position, it can be very easy to say, maybe Frank Ntilikina is a little behind the 8 ball with some of the guys there. We don't know. The thing is, that's something that's safe that you can kind of say, right? You can be safe with that. Say, yeah, Frank Ntilikina.
And you can say the same thing about DSJ as well.
Right,
You can say the same thing about DSJ. And,
they say a broke clock is right twice a
right.
day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
that tone.
it is. It is what it is, man. Mark Berman.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear Mitch today when they introduced Mark Berman? This is Mitch.
No.
Yeah.
It was.
No, I didn't. Oh shit.
This is Mitch when they introduced Mark Berman when they were doing the when they were doing the interviews.
Mark Berman, your host.
Hey, man.
What's up, dog?
Mark Berman, your host.
Hey, man.
What's up, dog?
So I mean, I just brought that up because he laughed at Mark Berman. For whatever reason, he said Berman. He started laughing at Mark Berman. Berman, if you're watching, you're cool, man. You're cool. I don't hate you, Mark Berman. You're cool. It was just funny that Mitch laughed at you. I don't know why I laughed at you. He just laughed at you. But anyway, go ahead, Tony. Then we're gonna start getting into some of this stuff.
Here's another thing, just to consider about Mitch. Yeah, all those things are true. All those things we heard about Jeff Van Gundy, and he obviously has a relationship with Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an easy transformation of information. But he wasn't. You got to look at the Knicks as well. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't even really put in a good position with the organization.
Facts.
Like player development, you know what I mean? Like rotation of the coaching staff, inadequate front office. So I think all that, and then taking the fact that he literally kind of came out of high school, lack of coaching. So it's like lack of coaching. I don't know how much you're gonna put on a high school coach, but then you got an absentee of a year of a coach, and then you got rotation of coaches in the NBA. Like, all these things, you got to take all that into consideration as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't just fall on him. Is what I'm trying to say.
And look, my gripes with Mitch, I don't have any gripes with Mitch. But when I'm saying these things, about his camp, I'm not really talking about his development with the Knicks. I'm more so talking about, like behind the scenes, what's happening there.
Family matters. Yeah.
Exactly. What's going on there.
He
was asked today. Yeah. He was asked today about him changing agents. And he just basically said it's personal issues. He left it at that. He didn't want to get into it. Smart move. Just said it's personal issues. He don't want to get into it.
Yeah, same, man. He probably didn't lie if it was like his uncle telling him it was probably personal issues.
Right.
Also, as far as like where the information is coming from, don't put it past prior agents. If the agent's fired, he may have a gripe and release some information.
Yeah, point taken. I mean, you're right. It could be. So you just never know, man. Me, I'm trying to wait till it comes out of the horse's mouth. There's always going to be news and rumors, obviously, but I like to wait until it comes out of the horse's mouth before we really get down and dirty on some things. Ideas of trades and things like that, of course, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to just come out or when people just come out and say, yeah, this is what's going down. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into talking about some training camp stuff. We've had 2 days of training camp, and so far, what we've got is that there's been a lot of learning, right? That's what we heard from R.J. Barrett. That's what we heard from Obi Toppin. There's been a lot of learning going on so far in camp. And Tom Thibodeau, it sounds like maybe, he might be looking at running some, an up-tempo type of offense, right? Trying to get these guys to move, trying to get these guys to push the ball up the floor, right? This is what he had to say. This is what he had to say about the guys being young and athletic. This was yesterday or last night, whenever it was.
I like Frank.
Wait a minute. That's the wrong one.
We didn't have a lot of time this summer.
That's the wrong one. That's him talking about Frank. So let me come back over here. I'll get that clip up for you. But
please do.
I will get that clip up. Talking about Frank, of course. But being young and athletic, right? What do you? Well, I'll start with you, Kev. Is that the way you want him to go about it? You want this team? You want this team to play fast, up tempo, and do they have the personnel to do it?
All three, I agree with. I believe we have the personnel to do that, and I'm starting to buy into the assumption that Obi and Randall can play together.
I'm
agreeing with that. I am starting to agree with that. And the one thing about this coaching staff compared to others is that out of the two head coaches we had, I'm not going to throw Miller in there because he was just a fill-in, but between Fizdale and Hornacek, Tibbs knows what he's doing. He's been in these situations plenty of times. He knows what he has, and I think that the team's going to be more successful under Tibbs than any of the other coaches that we've had. Okay. Because, again, he's had that success. He's had that experience. And the people that he put in place as coaching staff, he's got Woodson, he's got Payne, he's got Bryant. I'm probably forgetting one, but he's got all these people in his on his coaching staff. They're going to squeeze out more than 20 wins out of them. But as far as everything that he says, I totally agree with that. It's just a different feel with these guys than it was with the other ones. He knows what he's talking about.
Okay. So, all right. Well, let me get the clip. Let me get the clip over. We'll hear what Tom Thibodeau has to say. Then I'm gonna come back to Uncle Fulio down here. All right. Come back to Uncle Fulio. Let's get this.
Bring it on. Let's go. I'm ready.
They had 3.
We are young and we are athletic, so I want to try to take advantage of that. Obviously, when you have older guys, the advantage they have is they have the tricks of the trade are down pat. And when you're younger, hopefully you could try to take advantage of your legs and your athleticism. But I think it's important for us to come in each and every day and try to learn and improve. And you learn things every day, and that's the way we're going to approach it. One of the strengths of our club is that we are young and we are athletic.
All right, so there you go. There you hear it, right? They're young, they're athletic, and he wants to use it to their advantage, right? Because they don't have, you heard what he said about vets, right? The vets, they kind of got the nuances of the game down pat. The young players may not have had that down pat yet, but they have the energy and the legs and all of that. Do we have the personnel to do it, Josh?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So when I think about a fast break team, I think about Golden State. I think about a team like Golden State. And Golden State is one of the top defensive teams in the league, but off of misses, they run and they get out, they get on the break, and then you got your shooters right there. The Knicks don't have any of that. They don't have any defensive stopper on the defensive side of the ball from a wing. They don't have that. And I don't see them actually, running off of misses and being that team that get up and down the court at a very fast pace. On top of that, they don't even have a point guard, I feel like, that can be able to do that.
Okay, so So I want to challenge you on a couple of things first.
Okay.
Because first of all, let's break down what you need to be a fast-paced, fast-break team. You need rebounding. Right? Because you got to be able, every defense needs to end with a rebound. You got to rebound the ball and be able to outlet it, get it up the floor. You need rebounding. Do we have rebounding?
That's a question.
Yeah, that's a question. Do we have rebounding?
Oh,
do we have enough rebounding? We do.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we have rebounding. You need to have defenders. I agree. Shot blockers who can keep the ball from going in the basket, protect the rim, so you can get out and run. Do we have shot blockers?
Yeah.
Sam, hold on, wait a minute.
No. Just answer my question. Here we go with the timeouts. I'm just answer my question. Do we have it? Because we're talking about the ingredients to be able to run. Do we have shot blockers?
You're forgetting the main piece, and the main piece is defense.
Bro, I'm gonna get around.
Defenders.
But you're not letting me get around to it. Just answer my questions. That's all I'm asking you to do, Uncle Fulio.
The answer to the question is yes.
Okay,
we have rebounding and we have shot blocking. Yes,
we have shot blockers. Do we have descenders?
No. I feel like our wings and our guards are gonna get tore up this season, absolutely destroyed.
Okay,
I disagree.
Hold up, Joe. What about Frank?
Yep.
Is he a wing defender?
I feel like Frank is a good one-on-one defender. But that's it. I mean, and Frank might not even be starting. So what are we talking about?
You don't have to be starting to play 25 minutes a game and still be on the floor. But hold up. Let me ask. What about Reggie Bullock?
Okay.
Is he a wing defender?
He's not someone that I'm gonna put on the best player on the other team. I'd rather have Frank than I'd rather have Reggie Bullock.
But I mean, so you don't think that Reggie Bullock is a wing defender?
No, I think that he is a wing defender, but which talking about the type of style the Knicks are going to play like all the time. I don't feel like the Knicks have the personnel to be able to do that.
Okay, well, I'm
not just with Frank and Reggie Bullock.
I get it. We're trying to break it down. And see, right? All right. So Reggie Bullock, you're kind of iffy on. Austin Rivers, he's not in the wing. He's not a wing, but he's in the guard position. Is he a good defender?
No, I mean, decent at best.
I mean, I think he's a pretty good defender. I'm not saying he's all world, all NBA defensive player, but I think he's a good defender. RJ Barrett, is he a good defender?
Needs a little bit more development, but he's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have decent enough wing defenders, and it doesn't have to be just guys stopping you one-on-one. It could be a team defense that gets to stop.
Right, like Golden State. And that's why I use that example. But what I'm saying is I feel like the Knicks don't have that personnel there yet. And especially on a Thibodeau team, Thibodeau's teams are known to have that one guy to be that defensive player. It was Jimmy Butler on both Minnesota and in Chicago. He was that guy to be that, that wing defender, that number one wing defender. The Knicks don't have that on the roster right now.
And Luol Deng.
Exactly. They had two. Just like Golden State, they have Draymond Green playing defense and they have Klay Thompson playing defense on the wing. They're all around and they're able to rebound the ball and then get up the court and run. The Knicks don't have that on the roster right now.
We don't know that though. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, we don't know if Reggie Bullock only played part of the season. He could come in and help you be a wing defender. We'll see. Hold up. We'll see if Frank Ntilikina can come in and still continue to be a wing defender.
Yeah, exactly. And what about Allen Burke? What about Burke? You don't think he's a wing defender?
Nah, I don't know about Burks. I don't know if Burks is a defender.
All right.
No cap.
Yeah. And listen, if they keep our cornerstone of the defense, then you got a wing defender. If they keep our defensive cornerstone, we got a wing defender out there. Now, another part to that, which, Josh, I agree with you 100%, right? People always look at fast breaking as being able to run up the floor and score when you run up the floor. You got to have shooters, I think, to run an effective fast break. You got to have guys that can knock that 3-point shot down effectively. Why? Because you ask your shooters when you're running a fast break to run outside the lines to that 3-point line. Why? Because you want your big men to have the lane and you want your guards to have the lane. So you need to have guys on the floor, someone who can run to the corner, someone who can run to the 2 wings, spread the floor out, and now you got your guard and you got your point guard and your big man who can run the middle of the floor.
Exactly. Your guard,
Right.
your point guard, whoever's taking up that ball out on the fast break, getting to the middle, and then having all the shooters on the outside. That's exactly what we need. And everybody in the chat is clowning me right now, clowning me, acting like I don't know what I'm talking about. But Sim agrees right with me. Okay, so
Yeah,
there you
no,
go.
I agree 100%. You got to have guys that can knock down that shot in order to run an effective fast break. If you got everybody trying to run towards the rim, you're gonna be in trouble. And you won't have any spacing on that on the fast break. And also, you got to have guys that can run to those wings so your point guard can get the ball. And if the guy, can't, your big man is not running up the center of the floor or he's defended or whatever it is, you can get that ball up the sideline to shooters. When you can get that ball up the sideline to shooters, trust me, guys are spreading that floor open to make sure that you get on those open shooters. We got to have effective shooters in order to run, or efficient shooters in order to run an effective fast break.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a part of a fast break that a lot of people, I don't know, maybe some people don't even know about it or understand it. Right?
But
Our shooting
has improved, though.
It has. I think it has improved. And we'll see if some other guys take steps because Alec Burks can shoot the ball.
Hey, can I make a quick it's kind of like a question, but what's Dennis Smith Jr.'s 2 best attributes?
He's athletic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Athleticism and speed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's why I think if we're going to run a fast break offense, he's the guy we have to go through. And I think we could have a possibility of having him and Frank at the 2, DSG at the 1 to back him up defensively.
I can roll with that.
So Joe, why do you say he's the guy you got to go through?
Because he's, out of all the point guards, he's the most explosive, the most athletic we have. So if we're going to run fast base, I think DSJ is the guy.
Okay.
But if we're going to me, the only point guard I might trust is Peyton. But if we are going to run fast break, I think it's going to be DSJ.
Okay. See, and the reason why this is the reason why I asked you that, right? Because I knew you were going to say, he's the fastest, blase boom. Jason Kidd was slow as a mug, and he ran one of the most effective fast breaks you've seen for the New York Knicks in the last 10 years.
Yeah, fast passing.
Right.
But good fast break passing.
Right. Fast break is not all about just dribbling the ball up the floor. It's about getting that outlet up the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need someone who can get that outlet up the floor, who's not worried about just the assist, but the hockey assist.
Yeah.
Who on our team can do that?
Can I just add something real quick? When people hear fast break, they start thinking of 6 seconds or less or 7 seconds less or whatever it was. And Phoenix, what they were doing, how they were just a running team, constantly running the ball up the court because they had Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. How I'm talking about? I'm talking about a fast break team that can be able to defend off a miss and then be able to run the floor and hurt and get down there. Now the Knicks have guys that can score, that can put the ball in the bucket like Opie Toppin, like Mitchell Robinson on fast break and alley-oops and stuff like that. But outside of that, the Knicks they need shooting. I'm not really sure about the shooting. I'm not really sure about the defensive part. The first part of running the fast break is playing defense and getting that miss. The Knicks don't have that on the roster. For me to feel confident that they can be able to do that.
I actually think the Knicks are going to be a good defensive team this year.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, I believe that we are selling our coaching staff too short. Under Tibbs, as long as he has,
it's not about the coaching staff.
No. As long, yes, it is. It has everything. So what you're saying is because our roster isn't like a Golden State or even a Washington, you don't believe that coaching has nothing to do with that?
Yeah, but Kev, that's not gonna happen straight away because you look.
It's not going to happen straight. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen straight away now.
Yeah,
but we're talking about December. We're talking about this. Yeah, we're talking about December. Who knows what it's going to be like in January, late January, early February?
Yeah, February. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andy, I was. Am I? What would you say, Justin?
No, go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
No, what I was going to say was by February, we will have our starting five. We will know what this team is about, and for all the negative that is putting on its team right now, I believe all those will be positive come February. Underneath Tibbs, no matter how much you could talk about talent, no, I don't give a damn about talent. As long as Tibbs is in there, Tibbs is in there coaching, I don't see nothing else that could slow us down. Am I saying that we're going to? Am I saying that we're? Well, yeah, the schedule, because it's going to be brutal 3 games. I'll say that. But if you're going to tell me that I'm going to just give up and say that they're not going to do anything this year, no, I'm not going to say that. Because, A, they still have not played a full game yet. We haven't even seen them in a preseason game. Let's see them in a preseason game, and let's see them, see how they play. That's all. That's what I'm trying to say.
They barely been through 2 scrimmages.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yet.
Exactly.
Gonna flourish this year.
Exactly, man. I mean, there's too much negativity that's thrown at this team.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get to Andy. Andy.
Yeah.
What's your take on it all, man? Can we be
Josh's takes or
yeah? Can we be that young athletic team that runs up and down the floor? Do we have the personnel to do it? Mitch is athletic. Obi is obviously going to be athletic. We're hoping that RJ can get up the floor and knows how to run a fast break. Hopefully, we got a point guard that can run the fast break efficiently for us. I like the way Frank can run a fast break, believe it or not. I like that Frank looks up the floor and looks to pass the ball ahead.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, Josh, shake your head. Why, Josh? Why are you shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head?
Hold up. One at a time now. Obviously, there are times when you got to put the ball on the floor, right? And that's going to be the question with Frank. Can he put the ball on the floor when it comes time to run a fast break? As far as passing the ball ahead, I think he might be, him and probably Alfred Payton are the 2 best that we have in looking ahead and getting the ball ahead. Right? Now, coaching to me does mean a lot. Mm-hmm. Right? We broke down the footage of Obi Toppin. And you know why he was so good with Dayton? He ran through the plays. Yeah, he was the man on the team. But he let the plays develop. And that's part of the reason why he was so effective. And not only was it effective for him, but it was effective for his teammates, right? Because he let plays develop, knowing that the ball will come back to him.
Tim, can you explain that a little bit?
Can I explain? Can I explain what? Can I explain what? Okay.
What you just said about the play developing.
Right. So if you go and you watch
the coach's corner.
Go watch the coach's corner. Exactly. Go watch the coach's corner. Watch the coach's corner.
Sam? Hey, Sam, don't worry about it. You don't got to answer that.
But the thing is, if you watch him play, you'll see that he'll come down. All right, the team gets a fast break, and he's running down the middle of the floor. Right? He doesn't get the ball, but he sets a screen at the top of the key. After he sets the screen at the top of the key, he might spin off and he might pop, and they hit him with the pass on the pop. Right? Instead of him saying, okay, I got to create and I got to do something now, he hands it off to a guard, sets a screen for that guard, then he goes down and posts. Right? He doesn't get anything off the post and the ball reverses. He doesn't sit there waiting and looking. Now he reverses with the ball.
Moving.
Right? And then they catch him in the corner, They catch him in the corner. He could have the shot. He quickly swung it to someone who had a better shot. Right? That's letting the play go, letting the play develop. And guess what? Throughout that entire transaction, he touched the ball 4 or 5 times. Right? Throughout the entire transaction. That's what I mean by allowing the play to develop.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's, smart basketball right there.
Yeah.
All right? And that comes down to coaching. He was coached that way. That's what his coach demanded. Right? His coach said, if you don't do these things, then you might not be on the floor. This is what I expect from you. And I think Tom Thibodeau is that same kind of guy. And that the players that we have, some of the players that they brought in, I believe are coachable in that manner. And are used to being coached that way. So, we'll see what it looks like and how it develops. I don't know. Andy?
Yeah, Sim,
last point on this topic.
Yeah, I'm gonna spin the table here on the question, because you asked me if I think we can play athletic and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it was only me, but don't you guys think that Tibbs was like pointing to the styling of play that we want to run, and that's possibly like crossing Julius Randle to the bench? Because I don't think he's gonna be willing to run like really fast-paced basketball. He can run a couple of times, but he's not gonna be the runner that Kevin Knox is, that Obi Toppin is, and even RJ, right? He's more of a slow pace half-court game guy. So I'm thinking maybe he tried to, like point it a little bit to Julius that, if you're going to run, you're going to be, playing like really major minutes and even the starting position, right? But if not, I want to go really fast and I'm going to have to go with Obi. I think maybe, that was that, that kind of way we were going to be talking to about that Tibbs, quote.
Right. It could be. And if that's the way that he wants to play and Julius Randle cannot play that way or refuses to play that way, then I trust that Thibodeau is going to be like, well, then you're not going to play. I really feel like Thibodeau is that kind of guy.
I feel like Obi Toppin has all the offensive potential. That's why I wanted to draft him. He was number 1 on my draft board. The thing is, we have to see what Obi Toppin is going to become. Julius Randle was the best scorer on the team last year. He was the leading scorer on the team. So I don't know if people are talking about they need to bench Julius Randle. We need to hold the horses on that, because where are we going to get that scoring from? Where's the rest of that scoring? We're hoping that Obi Toppin is going to develop into that player and turn into that guy. And I frankly think he will. But at the same time, that's 20 points you're putting on the bench right there. And I'm sure he can come in and give a lot of minutes to the team. But where's the rest of that scoring going to come from? And this is what I'm saying. The Knicks don't have that. They don't have that type of scoring on the roster. We're hoping that RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin is going to turn into these scoring guys and to be our number ones. But if they're not, then what exactly are we going to do?
Yeah, Josh, just remember this. When you have a new coach and his game philosophy is like, we got to run. And I want us to run because 4 out of 5 guys on the court are able to run. So I don't care if you're, the Pope. If you're not running, you're not going to be playing, right? You can go on, with the rest of the guys. No, of course it's defense. So Randall doesn't mention that, philosophy.
Neither does Obi Toppin, though.
So, yeah, but I think if he's going to be, athletic, he's at least going to be playing this style that the coaches wants, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that Randall is going to be benched like playing 5-10 minutes. He's going to be playing, off the bench, but he can also play like 30 minutes, right? And that doesn't get, he's going to get the 15 shot, attempts that he had this season. And he can still score the 17, 20 points a game, whatever, right? He's just going to be coming off the bench, for example, with Elfrid and just pace the game, without the young guys, right? They can play like 3-4 guys, off the bench, a little bit older, then move to the, slower pace game. And then when when you have like 4-5 fast pace guys, you can run up the court. So
let me ask this question. If you put Randall on the bench, who's going to rebound for us? consistently. I don't
That's
know
gonna be a
if
problem.
I don't know if Obi is rebounding in the NBA yet. We're gonna find out. And Mitch, Mitch gets his rebounds because he's long and lanky. So is Mitch gonna get 10 rebounds a game? I don't know. Maybe.
Hey Sim, what's going on, y'all? First of all, who's Big Bubba? I don't understand who's Big Bubba.
Man, will you just get in and make your point, man? We got a good flow going. You come in with some nonsense.
Someone's calling me Big Bubba, man. I don't like Big Bubba, man. Can I be the superstar?
Only thing I'm gonna say is this: you logged in with your phone, and it came up as Big Bubba. I don't know who you're zooming with outside of NBK, but obviously you are Big Bubba in another world. I'm not gonna say where that world is, but you are clearly Big Bubba in another world.
Listen, I know one thing. So when they call me Big Bubba, there's gonna be some furniture moving. I know that much.
I'm just saying you are clearly Big Bubba in another world. I don't know where it is, but when you logged in, that's what came up.
Listen, anybody call me Big Bubba, we're gonna have some problems. I know that much.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, stop logging in with your OnlyFans account or something. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
We got kids watching, man. We got kids watching.
I'm just saying. But go ahead, man. I don't know. Go ahead.
What's going on, everybody, man? What up, Andy? What up, Tony? No, so so you know what, Sim? It's really tough, right? Because if we take Randall out of the lineup, that's a solid 12 rebounds you're missing. I won't say 12, but that's a solid 6, 7 rebounds.
At least 10. He averages 10 rebounds a game.
So I mean, throughout the game, so I mean, out the starting lineup, you're missing about 10 rebounds. So, and then like you said, Mitch, I'll be real with you, I love Mitch, but he's not a strong rebounder. Like some people. I don't think some people really understand he's not really a strong rebounder. And then Obi Toppin, we don't know yet. We don't know if he's gonna, be one of those guys that gain position, to gain where a rebound is at and everything. And then you would have to really count on your guards. And I trust RJ to get rebounds, but I mean, are we really gonna trust Alfred Payton and Kevin Knox and whoever's starting, whoever the three's going to be? You can't really count on that. So I would say I won't be surprised if Randall's starting. I'm not. Some people are not like that, but I would honestly see Obi Toppin coming off the bench before,
Isaiah, so you don't think that Obi and Randall can play together?
Heavens no, God no! You kidding me?
Man, I'm not seeing it, Kev. I'm not seeing it, Kev. I'm not seeing it. I'm just too worried about the defensive side of the ball. If one of those guys, if just one of those guys were a defender, like a strong defender, Julius Randle is probably a better defender than Obi Toppin right now, based on some of the things I was looking at in the video breakdown. But if one of those guys was a really strong defender, then you could say, yeah, let's go for it. With both of them not being that strong of a defender, it could be trouble. I mean, you better really have a guard lineup that can lock down guards and stop the ball from getting down to the big men. And that's going to be almost impossible in the NBA.
But you know what, though, Sim? But, Sim, here's the evidence to show you that I think Tibbs is not going to do that, because if you just go back to the Timberwolves, whoever Cat was next to was a defensive big. So I think, what was the kid? I forgot the guy's name. Was it Dang? No, not Dang.
Gorgie Jang.
Yes.
It was either him or I forgot what else they had there, but they never really put Cat with another offensive center. So it was more about just having a defensive guy. So again, right, if we look about that with the Timberwolves in the last couple of years, I don't see Randall and Toppin doing that. I mean, Tibbs is not going to let that happen. I mean, you'd have to score. Those two would have to score a really good production and really good efficiency for him to even think about that being the thing.
Well, I'm not going to say that it wouldn't happen in stints.
No, of course it would happen in stints.
I can definitely see it happening in stints. You get to a point, especially where you're getting blown out by 20, right? And you're not scoring. you might say, we need to get some scoring on the floor. Let's go with it. We getting our ass bust anyway. Let's go for it. Let's go with it and see if we can get some points on the board. Right? So there might be some situations where it happens. We'll see. Let's talk about Mitchell Robinson, right? Because there's been a lot of talk. I'm gonna come to you, Tony.
Okay.
I'm gonna come to you, Tony. Let me get this video up on Mitch, and then I'm gonna come to you. All right, and you can backtrack if you need to. It's been a lot of talk about Mitchell Robinson and Tom Thibodeau, right? And I know I've said that I think Tom Thibodeau kind of likes Nerlens Noel because of what he brings to the table, right? He's a big who's been in the NBA for a while. He understands the nuances of the game. He's clearly a defender. He can block shots and all those type of things, right? So I do think that Tibbs likes Nerlens Noel. But this is what Thibodeau had to say about Mitch today.
The thing about Mitch is we're in a day and age where you want guys to be all-around players. You want them to have the ability to make plays off the dribble, put it on the floor, make plays in the post. Obviously, the way he finishes around the basket is special and unique, and that's his strength and will always be his strength. But I would never want to put a lid on what he can become. We've seen throughout the league where guys that historically have been inside players have moved out to the perimeter, and usually you start with a corner three. And so if he can get to the point where he's comfortable with his free throws and then extend out beyond that, so be it. But that's something that we do want him to work on, but we also want him to play to his strengths and cover up whatever weaknesses he may have. And the big thing is every day come in and try to get better, and hopefully he'll do that throughout the course of the year. And there's, as I mentioned, there's a huge upside with him. And so if he's willing to work and make the commitment, there's no telling what he can do.
And here's Mitch on shooting, ladies and gentlemen.
If the shot presents itself, then not gonna tell him to take it this year. I mean, I'm more comfortable with the way I've been shooting lately. So I mean, why not? You know what I mean? So I mean, the engine's been working on it. So I mean, it's just if the shot presents itself, I'm just not gonna go out there launching them shots.
I'm gonna bring that back. This is Mitch on shooting.
Come out launching threes. You know, if the shot presents itself, then not gonna tell him to take it this year. I mean, I'm more comfortable with the way I've been shooting lately. So I mean, why not? You know what I mean? So. I mean, the engine's been working on it, so, I mean, it's just if the shot presents itself, I'm just not going to go out there launching them shots.
So Mitch, Tom Thibodeau, obviously he knows what he can do on the defensive end, and he thinks he has a ton of upside on the defensive end. He was asked about Mitch shooting the ball, and it sounds to me like he's going to do the smart thing with Mitch. Right? He's going to let him play where he's comfortable and then try to bring him along in that area. Mitch says he's not just going to go and shoot any shot. Right? He'll shoot them if it presents himself. Sounds like Coach Thibodeau probably talking to him as well. You know, they're having a conversation about his being able to shoot. And Tibbs is probably like, listen, yeah, we want you to be able to shoot. We want you to be able to do some things, but I don't want you to force it. I want you to take it when it's available. I want you to play to your strengths and then grow from your strengths. That's the way, to me, you develop a player, right? That's one of the things that I felt like Fizz really did wrong with Julius Randle last year. If he wanted to try to use him as a point forward, you don't start off doing that if he's never done it before. You let him play to his strengths, and then you say, okay, you know what? We're going to give you a chance to do, the next 3 minutes of this game, you run that point forward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you do that from, game, here, this game, that game, this game, that game. Let him get comfortable. Let him get used to it. If he does well, you increase it. If he doesn't do well, then you say, you got to work on doing this before we can let you touch the ball in that manner again. Same thing with Mitch. You know what I'm saying? You don't just tell him go out there and start launching threes. When he gets the chance to shoot it, then he shoots it. He makes a couple of them, gets his confidence up. Then he shoots it more. You just want to make him a threat and make him make the defense honest. Keep the defense honest. So I would if he's going to shoot the three, if
if the situation presents itself, yeah, fine. But I would like him to take more twos. I only saw him take one jump shot last year, and that was like in the beginning of the season, and that was pretty much it. Yeah. But Sim, we had this conversation before about him having his opportunities where a lot of the personnel looked him off and didn't give him the ball, for him to shoot. You remember that conversation?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if here's the thing: if you're not going to shoot it, people are not going to give you the ball in that position if they don't think you're going to shoot it. You know what I mean? Hold on. Let me come to Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, as far as the Mitchell Robinson thing, Kev kind of touched pretty much everything I was going to say. Let me include this though. Tibbs, I keep saying that he's going to be great for this team, for every individual player. In this particular instance, the way Tibbs breaks down film, because off the top of my head, I can recall several times where, like Kev just said, Mitch was in a position maybe around the free throw line, maybe a little bit behind it, where his defender was nowhere near him, and all he's doing is looking around to who he's going to pass the ball to. It's very similar to Frank at times, not looking for his shot. You got to make yourself a threat. So I encourage, if you're open, you don't have to be stuck in a position where you're trying to give up the ball if nobody's around you. Pull up. And once you start making it, once they know you can make it, it just opens everything else. What were we saying? What were we talking about just before Isaiah came in? Because I had a point about that, and I kind of lost.
Blame me, Tony. Blame me. Okay.
I mean,
you came in
Bubba. That's what happens when Big Bubba comes in the room. That's what happens when Big Bubba comes in the room.
Listen, Sam, I told you, I am not scared to come to Maryland, man. Don't do this.
Okay, man. All right, whatever. All right, that's what they call the big. Big Bubba. That's what they call the big dude in prison, right? Big Bubba. I don't know, Isaiah. What's going on, man? Big Bubba's in the building.
Man. Listen, this ain't beyond scared straight, man. Don't listen. Andy, man.
Everybody in the chat, guys in the chat, don't drop the soap.
Whoa,
Tony,
whoa.
Hey, Tony. Hey, hold up. No. Hold up.
No. You're not about to say that and cut me off. I ain't jumping though. So wait, first of all, I'm not even near the soap. I'm not even near the shower. I don't even shower. You know what I mean. But
I think Isaiah would like it if he dropped the soap. I think he dropped the soap on purpose.
Hey Joe,
Tony. Hey, go ahead, Tony. Tony, we were talking about Randall and Obi playing together.
Oh, well, I got a question. Why, if let's say that is the case, one point I was going to make is I think it can work if they run a zone. If they run a zone, that could work. But why? I hear everybody automatically assuming that if this happens, that Obi is going to the 3. Wouldn't Randall be more adequate to defend the 3 than Obi at this particular time?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Probably so. Yes. He probably so. I think that he's probably has better footwork than Obi at this point in time. Yeah, if that was the case, and they decided to put one of those guys at the 3, then you might say, or you at least have Randall guarding the 3s. We're just saying hypothetically, if they decided to have Obi and Randall in the starting lineup with a defensive center, which you would need a Mitch or Noel in there, right? Then maybe it would be smarter to have Randall guarding 3s and keeping Obi, a little bit closer to the basket, if that's where the 4. I think it would depend on the matchups, because you might have a 3 that isn't as athletic and you say, well, okay, maybe we'll have Obi play him this time. And not that Obi's not athletic, but defensively, he's not his footwork isn't there. So I think it would depend on the matchup. Maybe whoever is the most athletic out of that 4 and the 3 and the 4, then you might say, okay, we'll try Randall. Not that Randall is super athletic, but his footwork and all of those things on the defensive end are a little bit more advanced.
And that's the first thing I thought of when Tibbs or when Toppin said, Tibbs is not going to put me in a position to fail.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he's better. His strength is better at guarding fours straight up than threes. And then Randall, if somebody got to do it, I'd much rather Randall doing that than Obi.
Well, I'll take one guy. You got a Kelly Oubre. Who do you want on Kelly?
Randall.
Frank Ntilikina.
I mean, see, that's the thing. But see, that's the thing. I think that's the problem to me with both of those guys playing in 3, or either one of those guys playing in 3, or having both of those guys starting in the lineup. And I think a lot of Knicks fans are doing it because they feel like, oh, we don't want to. Some just want to get rid of Randall, but they understand he's probably going to start, right? So they want to throw Obi in there, so they're like, I just put him at the 3, right? Because they want to make sure he's starting, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
But you know what it is though, Sim? I don't understand. It's like I understand Knicks fans, but it's like, we've had evidence. Like, I'm going to always go back to the Detroit Pistons when they had Josh Smith, who was, and people don't forget, Josh Smith was very athletic when he was younger, especially on the Hawks. So you have the evidence to show you that an athletic guy who's supposed to be either a 4 or 5 play the 3, it's just not going to work.
Right.
I'm sorry to say, but it's like,
right.
And be honest with you, Josh Smith.
It depends on who it is. It depends on who it is. You can have a guy that, plays the 4 and he's athletic and he can guard 3s. It's just that we don't have that.
But I'm talking about that. But I'm talking about that kind of the Josh Smith, Obi Toppin structure kind of guys. Like, if you're going to be playing a 4, if you're going to play 4, you want to have the frame of like a Paul George or a Kevin Knox who can switch to be a 3 or a 4. You don't want a guy to have that's like the size and shape of Obi Toppin and Josh Smith playing your 3 because they're just too slow. And
Melo did it.
But Melo's not that type though. Melo's not an Obi Toppin type.
He's more of a Randall type.
Yeah, no, he's not more of a Randall.
Body wise?
No.
Melo's strong. Melo's a strong dude. That dude.
I wouldn't say they got the same type of body.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But when Melo came to the league, he was a 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a 3.
He was small. He grew a little bit, in the league. Got that baby fat on him.
But he was always, but Andy, he was always bullying guys. Melo was always, Melo can.
He was strong for a 3, yeah. That's why
he was
kind of
a possibility for him to go to the power forward position. That was like the base. So
yeah.
But it's like Kobe. It's like Kobe said about Melo's body. And pause. Melo's thick. Pause. But he's like a solid he's a solid body. I hate you guys. So
come on, Big Bubba. We don't need all the pauses, Big Bubba. It's okay. We don't need all of that.
Bubba, I ain't say nothing. Bubba, I ain't say nothing.
Kevin, don't do it, Kevin. I don't know where you live, but I will find out. Don't do that. I hate you guys, man. I really do. Only one I like slightly is Josh, and that's a maybe.
Okay.
Thank you.
What did I do? I didn't say nothing.
Oh yeah, okay, Joe.
All right, so let's finish talking about Mitch. Let's finish talking about Mitch because Mitch apparently gained 200. He didn't gain 250 pounds. He went from 240 to 250. Right. Okay. And he was asked, how does he feel? That's going to help him on the court. This is Mitchell Robinson.
I think that helped me a lot. Because, I feel like how fouls came in is because I was a little bit lighter than most guys that's in the league that have been here longer than me, and had way more experience. So, with me adding a little weight, that's definitely going to help me out, stay on the floor a little more than normal, just because now I can kind of maintain guys doing, So, just with that, I should be all right. I think that helped me a lot.
And I agree. I agree with everything that he just said. Right? Having that extra 10 pounds, not 250, having that extra 10 pounds should help him defensively. Because if you notice, a lot of times with Mitch, it was because guys could bully him around, right? I mean, obviously some of it was, he couldn't stay on his feet, make some bad fouls, just young player type bad fouls. But there were many times when, he's trying his hardest to stay with the guy, stay with, the person who's posting them up or whatever it is, trying to use whatever limb he can to hold the guy off and fend him off, and he gets a foul. You know what I'm saying?
Sam, let me ask you a question. Do you think, because of what he did, do you think he'll be able to hold his own against like Embiid or the Greek Freak? What do you think?
Well, I mean, listen, those guys have a few more years of growing than he does, right? So now he's still going to struggle with those guys, but they've got a few more years of, putting on muscle than Mitch does. Mitch got some years to go putting on muscle.
Also, you got to remember, Kevin, Joel Embiid is like 275, and then Giannis is probably like 240, 250 of muscle. Which again, right, is just a little bit different than Mitch is right now. But we talked about Mitch gaining weight a couple years ago, and we could tell he was going to build weight. So if he could work, he has to work around being 250 now. Then hopefully next year he can gain a little bit more, maybe go to the 250, maybe 260 range. Then we're talking about maybe banging with Joel Embiid. But right now, I don't think he can still bang with Joel Embiid right now. Personally,
it's only going to help, though. It's only going to help.
It's only going to help.
Yeah, and I could see a situation. If and when we play those guys, I could see a situation where Tibbs towards the end, that he'll put both Mitch and New Orleans Noel in there just to to defend those guys. I could see that happening because he did it. I forget who Fizdale. He had put Mitch and I forget who else to defend Giannis, and we actually won that game. I think that was the only game we won against Milwaukee that Fizdale's first year. He used Mitch and I forget. The other guy. I know it wasn't Cantor. It was somebody else. So
Was it Mario Hezonja? Oh, it was Noah
Vonleh. Okay. All right. Yeah. I can honestly see that. See Thibodeau doing a Mitch and New Orleans pairing against either Embiid or Giannis. I could see that happening.
Giannis
towards the end. I'm saying towards the end. I'm not saying, for the whole game. I'm saying like towards the end.
Let me just say that Nerlens Noel, I think that was a very, very important signing for the Knicks because I don't believe Mitchell Robinson is actually going to be sticking around here for too much longer. First of all, him changing the agents and all that stuff, like that's just like, that's crazy within itself. But at the same time, and this is why we were bringing up those trades, a few months ago with Mitchell Robinson. He is not that good defensively as people make it seem to be. I think him adding the 10.
I disagree with that.
Hold on. I definitely. I never said. Hold on. I never said he wasn't a good defender. I never said that. See, y'all jumping the gun. I'm saying I don't think he's that as good defensively holds him up to be. I think Nerlens Noel is not way better, but I think he's a better defender than Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson's defensive stats and his prowess come from him being athletic. So him adding that 10 pounds, I think helps him, rather than hinders him. But I think there's a real legitimate shot for Nerlens Noel to take the starting spot over Mitchell Robinson.
I agree.
I mean that could happen.
I think
that could definitely happen.
That could definitely happen. Yeah.
Legit. I think it's.
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
Everyone is so mad that I say stuff like that. That's so controversial.
No, I mean, you know what it is, Josh. You have a reputation for slamming our players. So when we hear that, that's when the antennas go, the rabbit ears go off. Like, here he goes. He's
Well, that's legit.
But I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying about.
It's not coming out of left. It's legitimate.
Okay. Go ahead, Andy.
Go ahead, Andy.
I was just gonna say that, as far as Mitch's gaining weight goes, as long as it's pure muscle, not like baby fat, he can go those 10 pounds in the next couple of years even. It's important that he doesn't gain like 40 pounds in an off season. But,
Yes.
he still has that body frame. He can fill out easily that body frame, like 3-4 years about those 10 pounds. He could be like 280 and he still would be, have like space to grow. So that was the only thing, as long as it's not 40 pounds in one off season and it's like muscle, not baby fat, and Isaiah diet, that.
First of all,
And Tony, take it away. Tony, take it away, bro.
Yeah, pass it to Tony. Pass it to Tony. No, pass it to Tony. No, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
I just wanna add something to what Josh was saying, or reviewed it a little bit, because if you notice, when Mitchell Robinson came off the floor, actually, I'm kind of agreeing with you, because when he came off the floor, we lost all our shot blocking. We lost all our perimeter defense. So I'm just agreeing in the sense that how big this Noel signing is, because now whichever one is on the floor, we have some rim protection. So I think that's going to be a big change.
Oh, hold on, but let me just clarify something. Playing defense is not all about shot blocking. Playing defense is being able to hold your own, being able to stand your ground, your footwork, and everything like that. Why are we talking about it being such an important thing that Mitchell Robinson gained 10 pounds? Because it helps him overall defensively.
I agree.
Like, the best thing about Mitchell Robinson on defense is that he's athletic. Well, he can be able to sprint out to the three-point line and be able to block shots and that kind of thing. But defensively, as a defensive stopper, like Mitchell Robinson is not in the conversation for, and maybe I'm going overboard with this, but I'm using the example of Defensive Player of the Year. Mitchell Robinson is not going to be in that conversation unless he does the fundamentals, unless he holds his own. You know what I'm saying? Not just his athleticism.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is our defense got worse when he was off the floor. Now he comes off the floor, Noel's is in, or vice versa. We're in a much better spot defensively for the entire
definitely.
game. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Absolutely. Now let me ask Josh this. What separates Mitch from a Rudy Gobert?
So hold on. You asked that question before. Let me answer you. Rudy Gobert is much more fundamentally sound on defense than Mitchell Robinson is. Rudy Gobert doesn't go out there and commit dumb fouls. Mitchell Robinson does that. And again, Mitchell Robinson, his best defensive attribute is that he's athletic and that he's long and he can be able to block shots from anywhere. Outside of that, Mitchell Robinson is not guarding the Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid will eat Mitchell Robinson alive for dinner. That's the truth.
And listen, to back up
strength, though.
It is. But to back Josh up a little bit, if you listen to Tibbs' interview when he was talking about Mitch, and he's talking about his defensive abilities and his ability to block shots, but then he also talks about him getting those small nuances and those small fundamentals down that'll take him to another level. And take him to someplace, maybe even another stratosphere defensively. So, Mitch definitely has got to work on those things. But also, and I'm not even trying to play the middle of the fence here, because, I think both of you guys are right. But having a shot blocker and a rim protector is a vital part of your defense when you talk about a team defense. When you talk about team defense. You know what I mean?
Because it makes the offense, who's ever driving the ball or whatever, it makes them think about when they see a Mitchell Robinson in the paint. They'll make them alter their shot.
Right.
Yeah, so. I just wanted to say, man, when it comes to Mitchell Robinson and Rudy Gobert, man, it's definitely night and day. It's definitely night and day between what they do because, again, right, some talked about it before. Getting a block shot is really nice. But altering a shot in the paint is equally as good as a block shot. You know what I'm saying? Because what's the point of having a block? You block the shot, right? You block it out of bounds and they still score. Is the block shot really still important? Yeah. So it's all about altering the shot and gaining the defensive rebound to complete the defensive sequence. That's the most important part. And like Josh said, when it comes to Rudy Gobert, his fundamentals, I mean, they're
But did you? But
That's
did, but Isaiah,
experience, though.
but I did.
Look at-
Isaiah,
look at,
did he have that?
Gobert
Go ahead,
in year
Tom. Go ahead,
2
Tom.
and year 3?
Huh?
I said that's experience. Go back and look at Gobert year 2 and year 3. He was jumping for everything. He was trying to block everything. He was Mitchell Robinson. Probably not as good as Mitchell Robinson. That's
I have to look back. I didn't pay attention to that.
That's experience.
I mean, Mitch is gonna get there. It's just takes some time for him to get there.
And again, that's why I'm and Isaiah. I mean, Sim. That's why I'm saying that this coaching staff is going to be together for a while. I think Tibbs got a 5-year contract.
Yeah. I think
How many 5-year contracts have we gave out?
Yeah, we have, but this one has credibility. That's what I'm saying. This one has credibility.
Let's just wait and see, Kev. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but let's just wait and see.
So let me ask you this: are you saying let's wait and see? You're saying let's wait and see. What doubt do you have that? What doubt? Wait, Isaiah. What doubt do you have? What doubt do you have? What doubt do you have that Thibs is going to that Thibs is not going to be successful? I'm not going to say fizzle out, but what doubt do you have that you won't? Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Derek Fisher, Jeff Hornacek.
Case closed. Case closed.
None of those guys are Tibbs, though.
I know.
That's what he's saying. None of those guys are Tibbs.
I have faith in Tibbs, but it's just like we've given out contracts long. We still paying a lot of these guys, so let's just.
The question
that was
is, how are you guys going to react if we have a horrible season? That's the question.
Say again, Tom.
The question is, how are you guys going to react if we have a horrible season? How are you guys going to react if you feel like Tibbs is to blame for such and such?
And that's the point. That's the point that I have to keep going back to right there, because this roster is not that.
I have to eat some crow then.
I mean, listen, Tibbs is.
If that's bad defense.
But look, Tibbs is going to make mistakes. Any coach who is a coach is going to make mistakes. There's no doubt about that. Joe, go ahead, man.
The only doubt I was saying I had was when you look at Minnesota with Tibbs. Tibbs had way more talent in Minnesota and he couldn't get the job done.
Thank you.
But wait a minute. That's not entirely facts, though.
Yeah, exactly.
The first year they were below 500. The second year they went to the playoffs. The third year when he left, they were like 4 games below 500 and a long ways to go for the season. They still could have ended up above 500 and possibly in the playoffs.
And he was not general manager or president, whatever he was. He had 2 hats. Here he only has 1. All he has to do is coach.
Right. But I mean, but still, let's not act like he didn't bring that team to the playoffs when they had not been in the playoffs.
No, but
they were awful defensively, though. They were awful.
Yeah, and the thing is, he should have, because he had Jimmy Butler, he had Derrick Rose, he had Cap. He had way more talent. He should have gone further with that talent.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let me ask you this, though. Hold on. But check this out. Though. We had Derrick Rose. We had Carmelo Anthony. We had Joakim Noah.
Yeah, we should have done a lot more.
And we didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So,
we should have done a lot more with that talent.
All right, let's talk about.
Joe, I will say this, Joe, about again, right? When you have a guy like Cat, which again, I always go back to what Jimmy Butler said about these guys not working hard. You can't put that on Thibs. Like you can't put Andrew Wiggins and Cat not being the hardest workers when they have the most talent on the team. You can't put them on this, because you can only coach as best as you can. These guys have to play. And when we have a guy who has no motor like Andrew Wiggins and Cat who's just Cat, it's hard. It's hard, and you're in the West, so you can't.
That's where coaching comes in. And
you can say the same thing about the Knicks. You can say the same thing about the Knicks these past couple of years.
Say about.
Okay, all right. So hold on. Okay, all right. Let's move on from there, right? But and listen, I mean, you can talk about Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins and all of this. He made the playoffs with those guys in the West.
Jimmy Butler.
In the West. Okay, cool. He had Jimmy Butler on the team. So what? That's good. That's what you're supposed to do. Accumulate talent.
No, of course, but I'm saying that was more Jimmy.
What the Knicks
That was more
haven't
Jimmy
done.
Butler.
And real quick,
Oh,
guys,
so he wasn't the coach. Hold on. Don't interrupt. So he wasn't the coach. You're saying that's all Jimmy Butler, right? So he wasn't the coach?
No.
Come on, man.
No, Sim. I said when Jimmy Butler was there, that's what they were able to execute.
But what I'm saying is that is what you do. You bring in players. Yes, Jimmy Butler was there. He brought in players. That is what you do. You bring in players that fit what you want to do. So yes, Tom Thibodeau took the team, although he brought in players, of course he did, took the team from not being a playoff team to a playoff team.
Mm-hmm. No, I
and he brought
agree.
in players. Yes, he brought in players. That's what you're supposed to do when you play in the NBA and you coach a team or you're the general manager of a team. You try to bring in the best players possible so that you can make the playoffs. Let me get to a phone call.
Hey, real quick, Sim, Giant fans, we just scored, so it's 7-0 Pittsburgh.
Let's get it.
All right, good stuff. Keep going.
Let's get it. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Whoop that ass.
Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hello?
What's going on with you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you doing? Hit your thumbs up for Sims, man. Yeah, you guys do a great job on this thing, bro. So just everybody show some love in the chat, man.
Appreciate you.
People.
Appreciate you. Thank
you.
you.
Just to get at what Josh was saying, man. Josh, what type of tomfoolery are you talking about? How Mitch is not a good shot blocker?
I never said that.
What other center you know is going to run out to the three-point line and punch shots? Because I don't know any.
I never said he wasn't a good shot blocker.
And as far as Rudy Gobert goes, like he's not as athletic as a Mitch, so he's gonna have to have the fundamentals down pat. You know what I'm saying? Like Mitch is a guy who relies a lot on his athleticism, so he never had a coach that's gonna put him under the fire to show him that he needs to be disciplined to be a better NBA player. You feel what I'm saying? So. And then as far as the Embiid thing, like, come on, man. The Embiid puts a lot of people in the block. Is going to score on a lot of people, bro. He's just that type of dude. You know, I just wanted to defend my man Mitch, man, because people keep coming at him. The dude's young. He has a lot of promise, bro. And, you know, I'm not all about just hating on the young guys, man. I'm all about letting them show us what they got. So thanks for the call,
man.
fellas.
Appreciate you. Appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah. But did anybody ever hear me say that Mitchell Robinson was a bad shot blocker? I never said that.
No.
Hey, Sim.
Guys choose what they want to hear.
Hey, Sim. Hey, Sim, I wanted to say one thing about what the guy just said, which I think people, I think, how can I say this? He said something about the lines of, Mitch is still young, right? And Mitch is still, we got to be patient. But at the end of the day, right, we can say that. We say that every year after year, and then, boom, 4 years later, we're like, well, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So I think we got to be cautious when we say something.
Yeah, like with Frank.
Listen, right? Especially with Frank, too, right? I love Frank. But look.
But Mitch been in the league. This is his, what?
Third year.
This is his third year.
But somehow I understand that, but we always say, well, they're young, they got to learn. They're young, they got to do this. But then it's like, you look 4 or 5 years, and it's like, what are we doing? I just say
right. But be careful what you're saying too, because you could say, you know what? It's been 4 years. This guy's not doing what we want. We don't care that he can block 3 shots a game. Let's trade him. And then he goes to another team, and 2 years later, he's averaging 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks a game, and you're pissed off that you moved him. This is a different day and age. Everybody wants to hold players to, they got to do it in 4 years. When you draft a project, it is a project.
And that's what Mitch and Frank were. They were projects.
The thing is, they weren't projects. They weren't projects.
Not Frank Ntilikina. He was drafted.
Yes, he was. They said from day one.
Frank was a project.
He was a project.
I would say Mitchell Robinson more than Mitchell Robinson in the second round, but a top 10 draft pick being a project, a top 10 draft pick.
Josh,
What does that mean? Y'all
Josh, come on, Josh.
Hold on,
next
guys.
year-
One at a time. One at a time.
I gotta chime in on this.
Go ahead, Andy.
Josh, Josh, when the next year's draft came and they picked all 60 players, Frank was still the 4th youngest player in the NBA. And you're going to tell us that he wasn't a project.
But Andy, when you take him number 8 overall and you're a team that's trying to rebuild,
still,
you don't take
no.
Hold up.
Wait, what was KP?
It wasn't smart, but he was a project.
Yeah.
KP was supposed to be a project when he came into the league, and he was drafted number 4.
Yeah.
He just happened to be better than they thought. But he was a project.
Okay, when you guys say project, what exactly are you talking about? Because what I remember, hold on. Frank Ntilikina, he played pro ball before he came to the NBA. So did
That's not the NBA.
He was 17. He was 16, 17 when he was playing.
Are you really doing the international?
Okay. So watch this. Luka Doncic, was Luka Doncic a project when he came out the draft?
No.
Luka is LeBron type player, bro. He's like that transcendent. So you don't compare Luka to any other players from Europe. No, we knew it before. He was cocky. Josh, he was cocky like LeBron in Europe here, and he was playing with 40-year-old players, and he was like humiliating them. So, bro, you don't go with Luka and Frank in the same sentence even.
What about Porzingis, though?
With whom? Porzingis. He wasn't. He was also a project. He wasn't drafted, like Luka.
He was a project that panned out.
Josh, there was never a player like Luka drafted from Europe. Never.
No.
Okay.
I agree.
And Andy's from Poland, so try him.
And I'm gonna throw somebody else out there.
You got Andy speaking proper English here. You got him that pissed off.
Yeah.
That's the mic.
What did they say about Kevin Knox when he was drafted? What did Calipari say about Kevin Knox?
Take 3 or 4 years before he starts breaking out. Now we're in the 3rd year. He needs to. There's no case closed.
Yeah, case closed. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. No, not case closed. He has to do it this year. He has to start doing it before the trade deadline or he's gone. The same with Frank. Same with Mitch. All of them need to start picking it up.
No, what he is saying when he says case closed is that he's a project. That's what he was saying when he says case closed. And because we can't stop talking over each other, I'm going to unmute you when I want you to talk because we keep on going, everybody just keep going crazy.
Hey, Sam, give us one more chance.
No, I ain't giving no. Can't do that.
It's Isaiah's fault.
Can't do that. Guys don't know how to control themselves. So we got to put you on mute. Let's hear Tibbs on Kevin Knox.
Well, he's had 2 really good days of practice so far. And I hope he can sustain that over a long period of time. But he's a young guy that has to get better. I think in looking at the shots that he had taken last year, the ones that he took, which I would quantify as good shots, he made those. So I think he started pressing and took some tough shots. But when Kevin Knox takes good shots, he's going to make them. So he's put a lot of time into his shooting. I think he's gotten stronger. But he's got to continue to work. And if he does that, Kevin Knox will be fine.
So there you go. If he does that, takes good shots, continues to work, Kevin Knox will be fine. Tony, where are you looking at Kevin Knox under Tom Thibodeau? I think it's going to be very good for Kevin Knox, but what do you think?
With him, it's all about aggression. Got to get a little bit selfish or offensive. Not saying like this is, don't take bad shots, good shots, but more aggressive. So you're open, shoot, don't hesitate. You got a lane, drive, don't hesitate.
Yeah. I think he'll be all right. I think he needs someone like Thibodeau to just light that fire under him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Big Bubba. Coming to you, bro. Come on.
I think this is definitely the perfect coach for Kevin Knox. Listen, man, just seeing the way Fizdale coach these guys, and just that, to me, this older brother thing rather than a disciplinarian, and having these guys on a schedule, it just shows a lot of things. It showed on the floor with a lot of guys. Like Kevin Knox progressed his sophomore year, so it's like having a guy like Tibbs, and like you said, Tibbs, like Tibbs said, if he consistently does what he done in
Oh, they can't. Oh, they couldn't hear Big Bubba.
Okay,
Andy,
pass the mic somewhere else.
Andy, don't do it, Andy.
Go ahead, Big Bubba. Go ahead, Big Bubba. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I don't know if you guys wanted to hear what Big Bubba had to say anyway, but go ahead, Big Bubba. Say what you were saying.
Listen, I got enough money to go to Poland and come back to Maryland. I just want y'all to know. I got enough money to do both.
I don't think you do, but,
Yeah, don't trust me, brother. Listen. Anyways, no, so that's what I was saying about
that OnlyFans account. I guess is working out for him. Go ahead.
Man, we got kids on here, man. We can't be doing this, man. You can't be doing this.
Come on, man. Go ahead.
Andy Kidd is watching this, man. We don't want that. Tell him, man. To Uncle Isaiah, sorry, but no. So when it comes to Kevin Knox, right, like I was saying before, we just seen what happened with Fizdale and his coaching style, and it just, to me, was just so all over the place, not really any structure, and then it showed on the court with Kevin Knox. He was just very sloppy, very, just atrocious on defense, not paying attention, not focused on the details of things. Having a coach like Davis, who's a disciplinarian, who'll be so perfect for what Kevin Knox needs. He needs structure. He needs a guy that's going to get on him. He needs a guy that's going to tell him, like, we're going to do this. We're going to, constantly do this. And I don't care if whatever. You're going to constantly do this in practice. You're going to have to work every day. And this is the perfect thing for Kevin Knox. Like he needs a guy that's going to just constantly be on him, because these years are important for Kevin Knox. He doesn't get, to me, if he doesn't get it to go in right now, it's not going to be good for his future, So him, man, this is perfect for him. Like Thib said, if he constantly does what he does, then he'll be fine. So, there we go.
I agree.
Yeah. I think I think we could have. Listen, we keep talking about who's going to play the three, right? Kevin Knox, fits the build, at least for this year. I always thought Kevin Knox was going to be a 4, end up being a 4 in the league. He might fit the bill to play the 3 for this team, because I don't know who really the starting 3 is. I don't think that Obi Toppin and Randall's going to play together. So one is going to be the starting 4, one is going to come off the bench. Who's the starting 3? That position is up for grabs for Kevin Knox. And I'm going to tell you what I like. He said he wants to start. That's one of his goals.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he said he wants to start.
Okay.
He did an interview the other day, said he wants to start. Will he get that spot? We'll see, but.
And Sim, you know what this, Sim, and I'll be honest with you, right, just to chime in real quick. I remember I told you before, I listened to an interview with Mark Berman. Again, Mark Berman, you take it as much as it is with a grain of salt. But he did say that Kevin Knox was really bothered last year not starting and, coming off the bench. He felt some type of way. And I think that did a lot to his confidence, because I think he feels like he's a starter in this league, which is good. You want a guy to feel like that. I just want him to put the work in as a starter. If that's such a big deal to him, then put the work in. Do the extra thing, do the small things. Stay after the gym and put up, whatever kind of shots, or work on your defensive, your hips and your structure and all that stuff, your stances. work on those things that's going to get you starter minutes. Because if you know who Tom Thibodeau is, then you know that defense is going to be the first thing he demands. It's not a thing that you might be okay. He's demanding you play defense. So you got to do what you got to do if you want that starter spot.
Yeah. Okay. Kev, go ahead, Kev.
And I got to agree with Isaiah 110%.
Thank you, Kev.
When in his first year, he was the one that was starting pretty much. In his second year, during that whole free agency, he was going in thinking that he was the starter. He went through summer camp. He went through summer league, knowing that he still had in his mind that he was going to be the starter. Once Morris came in, all bets were off. And I think, again, what Isaiah said, he felt a certain way because you saw what Fizdale did. And then going into Miller, he was regulated to the bench.
I mean, the thing is, and I'm going to get to a phone call after this. The thing is, no matter who's there, I mean, you got to go out and show and prove. And if you earn the starting spot, you earn the starting spot.
I agree. I agree with that. But the thing is, in this league now, a lot of the guys they are not mature enough to do that, to have that mentality. They're not. They're thinking that they should start, and that's it. That they,
Kev, you got it.
But I agree. Go ahead.
But Kev, you got to understand, though, right? This is what I was talking about before about professionalism. That this is a job. At the end of the day, listen, the janitor feels like he could be the CEO of the company. You know what I'm saying? They do.
Company? Isaiah, you never told me you felt like you could be the CEO of any company. Get out of here.
First of all, I just want to be real. I run MBK. I let him do it.
Right. Let me get to this phone. Let me get to this phone call. Calling you live. Okay. What's popping? Don't worry about Big Bubba over here. What's popping, my man?
I'm calling me Big Bubba. Don't call him not calling me Big Bubba either. Because they call him it or not.
Caller, what's popping, man? Don't worry about Big Bubba. Hey, yo, caller, you there? I guess we lost him. Let me get to another call. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Sam.
Yo, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. I see the cast of characters. Everybody's there. Knicks family, what's good?
Yeah, everybody's here. Everybody's here. Big Bubba and all. Bubba Gump Shrimp.
In and out. I know Bubba Gump in the building. Now leave Isaiah alone. Leave Isaiah do his thing. I want to know something because I'm always in and out. And before I ask you something, I want to know what is it with Kevin and these young Knick losers that he has to always try and find some kind of reason why these guys are not doing good. Knox is who Knox is. Okay?
What are you talking about?
We don't know that yet, though.
When Morris came to town last year, okay, he shriveled up. Whose fault was that? Was Morris supposed to step aside and let him? Was Morris supposed to step aside and let him do what?
Nah, I feel you. I feel you. I'm with you. I mean, any player, they got to show up and show out. That's it.
Got to show up and show out.
Got to show up and show out.
I constantly keep hearing guys on the chat keep trying to find excuses for. Don't get me wrong. These are guys that we've drafted, but even though we drafted them, they could have been a mistake. 3 years ago, when I was listening to some of these guys that knew all these college players, I don't watch college basketball as much as I used to, but everybody kept saying about Knox was no motor. Not that he couldn't play, not that he couldn't shoot, whatever, but lack of enthusiasm, no motor. Whose fault is that? Somebody's supposed to step aside and give him a spot? Somebody's supposed to step aside and give Frank a spot? I don't understand it.
Can I ask the question? Can I ask a question though? who was it? Where was who made this report that Kevin Knox has no motor?
I saw it on ESPN 3 years ago. Because ESPN does that whole draft breakdown. I can't remember who the reporter is. They do that whole draft breakdown, strengths and weakness and stuff like that. And that was the first person that I saw. I remember. And then when Calipari came on, was giving him when Calipari was giving his voter confidence thing, well, it's not going to be now, it's going to be in 3 years. I remember Calipari saying that. But Calipari never said as far as that he's a boost in his motor.
I mean, Calipari never said that he needed. Obviously, Calipari's not going to say that,
right? But we've seen that. Day one, we've seen.
I don't know if we did. I know when I seen him in summer camp that summer, I was like, okay, this kid can ball. I didn't see that he had a low motor. I've never seen him in practice. Right? Tim says. I'm not biased. I'm just saying. Tell me what.
Is this guy even a Knicks fan? I mean,
yeah, he's a Knicks fan. He's a Knicks fan.
It's called supporting your players. That's what it's called.
But what I'm saying, I mean, if I think a guy has a low motor, I'll say I think he has a low motor. I just don't know. When I seen him that first summer camp, I didn't think he had a low motor. Right now, I've never seen him in practice. So in the game, what does he do in the game that makes you say he has a low motor?
Tim, he doesn't show the aggressiveness a person with his athleticism is supposed to show. Okay? A person with his athleticism is supposed to be a lot more aggressive. He is 6'9.5". He's a tween. He's not a. He may not be a. He's in that tweener state. The way how he is going right now, he's Porter. He's Porter that used to be on Washington. He's a standstill 3 out there.
I don't know. All right. I don't know. I don't know. I just, I never heard the report officially from anybody. I just always heard people come on and say he has a low motor. I never heard, or they think maybe he has a low motor. I never heard an official report to say, yeah, I went to practice, and this man, all he does is jog up and down the floor. As a matter of fact, I actually heard opposite from those who seen him in the Knicks practice to say he's one of the hardest workers. He stays later than everybody to work on his game. This was last season.
What was the thing that came out that was one of the most biggest things that came out of when Zion ripped out of his two hands and threw him on the floor?
Come on, man.
Right or wrong?
You know what? Yeah, that happened. But then after that, Kevin Knox had several plays going down Zion's neck. We can go back and look at it. We can go back and look at it. Of course you remember that because it was Zion and it's all over every place. But there were several plays that Kevin Knox showed the same aggressiveness that people are, crying about that he didn't show when Zion took the ball out of his hands. Right, but nobody's gonna say that. They're just gonna look at that one play. And Kevin Knox showed out in that summer league. He didn't do it in the league, obviously, but he played good in that summer league. But that's what everybody wants to look at. That's the type of stuff we talk about.
I'm not killing the kid because the one thing Fizdale did right was trying to expose him to players who played his position in the past that knew about the nuances of the game, from the Bernard Kings. Every town they stepped into, Fizdale tried to introduce him to someone that knew a little something, that played his position, but played it a little differently, right? Mm-hmm. So we can't say he didn't get certain kind of tutelage and certain kind of development because Fizz did try and do that for him.
We're gonna find out. This is gonna be this is the year, Coach Calipari said 3 or 4 years. We'll see if we start seeing something this year. I mean, I thought I seen.
I'm gonna let y'all rock. I'm
some.
still listening, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate
y'all still my family, but we always disagree on the. Y'all gotta let y'all gotta let these guys go. They are who they are. Frank is who he is. Knox is who he is. We gotta move on from these guys.
I just disagree. I can't sit and say that a third-year player is who he is.
Okay. All right, that's all I'm gonna say.
You know what I'm saying?
I
just can't say that a third-year player is who he is. You know, when he hasn't even scratched the surface of who he is.
Okay, if that's facts, then this got to be facts too. 2 years ago, when Fizdale was here, what happened? The Knicks had 4 former first rounders on their team that was drafted. That was somewhere between 1 and 10 from that draft. You know why? Other teams sees that, you know what, this is all that you have. You only have a couple of years to know if this player is going to be a player or not. The Knicks had 4 top picks on their team because other teams was like, no, this is garbage.
They did. You know what I'm saying? But they did. Right? And just like, but look, you know, you say a player is, you know, this player is who he is, right? Some of these players like Tom Thibodeau, when he was talking about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, they go through different parts of their career, up and down, here, there, moving around, this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, I think when you finally get to 27, 28, you know who your player is. You know who that guy is. That's who they are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you talk about Kevin Knox at 21 years old. You know who he is at 21? He don't know who he is at 21.
But a successful management team is not going to be able to stay employed, to stay with guys because they're on the slow track of development. San Antonio's not doing that. Utah is not doing that. All the successful teams, they're not going to sit there 4 and 5 years with trying to develop a dude that they've already pegged. You know what? Okay, he's having problems in this area, he's having problems in this area, but we need him for this, and he still can't even do that.
But this is the thing. All of these guys have players like that. But see, that's not true. All of these guys have players like that. All of these teams have players like that, and they have a different developmental system that the Knicks haven't had. It's just that they had good teams where they could hide these players in the G League for 3, 4, 5 years, and then they come out and play, and everyone's like, yo, where did this guy come from? But they had this guy for 4 or 5 years. Before the G League, they had him overseas for 4 or 5 years. And then all of a sudden, they bring him to the NBA, and we're like, where did this guy come from? Why? Because they took 4 or 5 years to develop them in other leagues, right? But it's different now. It's different now. It's different for the Knicks because the Knicks don't have a lot of players. So it's like, okay, well, we just bring them here and let them play. But everybody wants it right now. But when you talk about Golden State, when you talk about San Antonio, Utah Jazz, they all have players that they developed. It's just we didn't hear about it because we heard about the players that they had now, and they were good. And then then 4 or 5 years later, these guys bust on the scene and we wonder who they are and wonder why we don't have them.
All right, that's facts. That's facts. All right, fam. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. Knicks family, I know what it is.
Appreciate you, bro.
Again.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Always like when he calls in because we have good conversations, though. You know, let me go ahead and get the Uncle Fulio.
All right, can y'all hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I kind of agree with what the caller was talking about from the standpoint of every time we talk about the Knicks, it's always, well, next year this, next year that, or 5 years from now, or 4 years from now, it's always like this and like that. And I feel like at some point we got to start winning some games. Now, I get it. The development staff is in place right now, and we got to trust our young kids and develop the young kids and help get to that level. But at the same time, I mean, I'm tired of just watching Knicks lose 60 games a year, losing by 20, 30 points every single game. At some point, some of these guys are going to have to break out. And particularly, I want to talk about R.J. Barrett real quick, so if you allow me to. Okay? R.J. Barrett was drafted number 3 overall. he didn't have the type of rookie season that was like really eye opening or anything like that that told you like RJ Barrett is going to be this type of player. We really still don't know yet. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, we're talking about we need to build around RJ, make RJ the cornerstone of the franchise, and all that. That's all cool. But at what point is RJ Barrett going to start helping out the other guys on the team? At what point is his play going to, make the team better? You get what I'm trying to say? Right now, we're talking about building around RJ, putting all these shooters around RJ. But what if RJ is not that guy to begin with? Then what are we talking about? So everyone is so all in on RJ, but what if Obi Toppin turns out to be better than RJ Barrett, and we need to start building around Obi Toppin? So to start thinking about as Knicks fans. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because we drafted them and we got all the stock invested in them. But it's something that we need to seriously start to think about, especially this upcoming season.
I mean, I think at this point you don't look and say I'm building around RJ or I'm building around Obi. You're still figuring out what these guys are. This is the reason why when you look at the trajectory of this team and who we are right now, it's where it befuddles me why you say, not you, but why, people will be like, we don't have the time to let somebody develop and see what they got. Why not? It's not like we're competing for a championship right now. If you're competing for a championship, then you're like, you know what? We need to stash this guy here because we need to get players that can compete right now to help us win a championship.
Sim, but that's an extreme, though. No one is talking about championships, though. No one is talking about championships. I'm just talking about the Knicks being able to win games and to be competitive.
I get that. Okay, so how many guys developing on the team do we have? Like, I mean, RJ is developing, but he's productive. Okay, you can literally point to 2 or 3, right? Frank, Mitch, Kevin Knox. Right? How many damn roster spots do we have?
Right.
I mean, that's
15
roster spots. And we can't be patient enough to let 3 guys play and see if they can turn into something in year 4 or 5. You got all these roster spots that you can.
I'm all for patience. At some point, Sam, you got the patience thing has to go out the window. We've been talking patience every single year. We talk patience.
I agree.
And patience. I'm just saying, at some point, we need to start thinking about winning some games. And I'm not saying these guys are not going to be the ones to do that. But Knicks fans are out there talking about building around RJ, which I'm all for. Yes, build around RJ. But what if he is not the guy? What if we're investing all this time into a dude who can't make the team better?
But who said that they're building around him right now?
Then what are we talking about?
I don't think that they are building around RJ, right? That's what all the fans say. I don't think that they are saying, sitting in the office, Leon Rose, and saying we got to build around RJ. Because they don't know what he is yet. I don't think that the Knicks are doing that. Fans are saying build around RJ. I don't think the Knicks are saying we got to build around RJ. I think the Knicks are looking at what RJ is and saying we got to put the best team together, including RJ, to make it all fit and work.
I don't know about that, Sam. I think the Knicks are all in on RJ Barrett. I think they are. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I'm just saying, at what point is RJ's play going to be able to produce winning?
Well,
at what point is that going to happen?
We haven't seen his second season yet. We don't know.
I know that, Sam. I know that. I know that. But but compare him. Compare him to, say, Zion Williamson and what's his face from Memphis, right? Compare him to the 2 guys who got drafted right before him. Their rookie seasons were night and day from RJ Barrett's rookie season. And it wasn't like that their rosters were way better than the Knicks. Maybe the Pelicans was. But Memphis? How was this point guard able to go on to Memphis and made them a playoff contender like that? They didn't have anybody on the roster before him. What did RJ Barrett do with that? We're talking about what we need to do to make RJ Barrett a better player. But how is RJ Barrett making us a better
I mean, but he's just been here.
We're still out there for us to find out.
He's just been here a season. Can we see if he's going to help us, become a better team this year? He's been here 1 season.
All right, so let's find out. I'm just saying because we may have to start thinking about it.
I mean, because look, John Morant. Listen, he's a wonder. He could have came to the Knicks and not had that great of a season too. You don't know. I mean, everyone's circumstances is different.
If you nice, you nice, Sam. We spoke about this before.
I mean,
If you nice,
that's
you
true.
nice.
If you nice, if you are good, you are good. It doesn't mean that your percentages are going to be great just because you're good. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot, depending on the type of team that you have around you. I mean, it does depend on that. You know what I'm saying? You could be on a team has a terrible fit, but you're still able to cook a little bit. Maybe your percentages ain't good because of certain things, but you're able to do some things that people say, yeah, you know what, this guy could, you know, if we're able to put a good team together and pieces that fit, this guy could excel or whatever it is. You got some guys that are going to transcend anything, right? But you've seen it plenty of times where one guy's on one team where they fit perfectly. They average 15 points a game, then they go to another team, and because of the style of play, because of the players that's on that team, because the characters that are in the locker room, chemistry and all of that, that player doesn't play as well. I mean, but it's 1 year. I mean, you say, you know, when is RJ going to show it? Well, damn. He ain't going to show it in training camp yet because he got to hit the floor first.
And I'm waiting to see it too. But I tell you one thing: you switch R.J. Barrett and what's the dude from? I can't forget. Like, what is his name? The dude from Memphis, the point guard.
Ja
I don't know
Morant.
what I'm having a brain for. Yeah, you switch those two guys together. R.J. Barrett is not making Memphis a playoff team or in that playoff contention. I don't think so.
I mean, the teams would be totally different because they would have went and got another point guard, but because they wouldn't have had Ja Morant. And who knows what kind of point guard they would have got? Who knows? The teams would have been totally different. It's hard to say. Tony, let me come to Tony.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Josh, me and you, man, we gotta do this debate show because I don't agree with half the stuff you said. I don't.
A lot of people don't. I'm used to that. A lot of people don't.
We haven't even had a full season with RJ, and he gotta show you. First, let me start by saying, if we had the second pick and not the third pick, we would have had Ja Morant.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: do you think we made a mistake by drafting RJ with the third pick?
No, I'm not taking it. It's not a conversation about a team.
So let's not compare Ja Morant with RJ because we didn't have a position to draft Ja.
Tony, you have to compare them. They were in the same draft class. They were 1, 2, and 3.
We didn't pass on Ja for RJ, is what I'm saying.
Right.
I know that.
So let's leave that conversation for something else. Because if we had the second pick, we probably would not have grabbed RJ. But
okay,
how can you say he's got to show you? We got to consider, dude. He hasn't even played 82 games. Like, if you debating this with the other guys, the Knoxes, the Franks, yeah, they've had more time to show. But RJ produced. Like, what are you down on him on?
I'm not down on. See, that's the thing. I'm not down on him at all. My thing is just that we're talking about building around RJ, making him one of the cornerstones of the franchise, which we should, as he was the third pick in the draft. But it has to come to a point, and I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not going to say it's going to happen at the end of this upcoming season. But at some point, RJ Barrett has to show how nice he is and his ability to make players around him better, not always the other way around. We need to put this around RJ to make him better, put that around RJ to make him better. Some players, when they play, you just know that they're nice and that they instantly make people around them better. Now, RJ needs to develop that still. Sure, let's go out and let's develop him.
What kind of numbers are you looking for? Are we talking about like 10 assists, 8 assists, 5 assists?
If it was up to me, I want RJ Barrett to be the leading scorer on this team. I want him to take most of the shots. I want him to be that guy, the guy that they give the ball to at the end of the game. That's what I want RJ Barrett to be because that's what he was in college.
You realize for that to be the case, chances are he's not going to be making players better. Somebody's going to be making him better.
No, hold on. Wait a minute. That's not true. I feel like that type of play is contagious. That good play like that, when you can give someone the ball and have them close the game out, that play is contagious. That makes everyone around them better. Look at Damian Lillard. He's the number one guy in Portland, and he makes players on that team better just by him being on the floor. That's what the great players do. They make players around them better. But it doesn't matter. He takes the majority of the shots on the team. He takes the majority of the shots on the team.
He also gets the majority of the assists on the team. This is where I'm confused. Do you want him to play the point? You want him to be like a James Harden?
What I'm saying is I want RJ Barrett to be the best player on the Knicks. I want him to be the guy that they give the ball to at the end of the game and for the Knicks to win games on his shoulders. And I'm saying that type of playing with someone like that makes winning basketball becomes contagious in the locker room when you play with somebody like that.
Because it sounded like you were saying we need to be prepared for him not to be.
No, I'm saying you have to at least start thinking about these type of things. We're talking about all the time. We're talking about us putting pieces around RJ, putting shooters around RJ Barrett, putting that around RJ, putting this around RJ. But what is RJ going to do to be able to make the entire team around him better? What about the other way around?
I guess we just got to see, because sometimes it feels like you're saying it like he's been here 3 years and he hasn't done anything yet.
No, not at all. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Let me get the big Bubba. Let me get the big Bubba.
Foul, man. Me and you. Flagrant foul.
Flagrant foul with Josh and Tony. We gotta get it. Big Bubba.
Sim. Oh my God. Listening to Josh, I love you, brother. I appreciate you. Holy crap, Josh. What the hell was that? What was that, bro? Like that just like Josh, man, you are the type of dude, bro, that everybody can agree that we are going out at 10 o'clock. You be like, nah, we going out at 12. Josh, the club closes at 1. Nah, we going out at 12.
I'm from New York. Club always closes at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Anyway, Josh, why do you just have to oh my God, Josh. Yo, bro, you're talking about Zion and Ja. Zion only played 20 games. Also, with Zion, he's not the first option. He's not the second option, probably. He's behind Brandon Ingram. They had Drew Holiday. They had Alonzo Ball. They had a good, solid team. Ja Morant had Jaren Jackson Jr. Do you know who that is?
I was mostly comparing him to Ja Morant because the Memphis and the Knicks had pretty much the same kind of roster that was lacking talent.
Bro,
that's what I was really talking about.
But Josh, you're talking about the circumstances. You're talking about why Ja is who he is. Ja had, Brandon Clark, and he had Jaren Jackson Jr., who's probably most likely going to be a future superstar in the league. He had players around him. He's the point guard. He had the ball in his hand the most, and he had a good coach. They were going to be an 8 seed. Well, they were trending that way before the whole thing was going down. They had a good team, and then you're going to compare RJ Barrett, who had, again, we talk about this all the time. He had no spacing. He had a coach get fired midway through the season. There was no space on the floor. The team wasn't really together. There was a lot of crap going on, and you're going to really say that, even with all that, he still averaged 14 points. He still had, decent decent assist numbers. He still played.
I never said his stats were bad.
But Josh, you're trying to say that, well, he's not Ja or Zion. Mine is Zion. Okay, Ja was the best player in the draft. That's cool. But to say RJ, he got to prove it, bro. This is literally he didn't finish his rookie season.
Yeah.
So
look,
this is going to be a full season. You can't expect him. You can't expect him. He's 19, Josh. He's 19 years old. What? Come on, bro. You didn't know who you were at 19. You didn't know what to do.
Look. We kind of killed the point here. Enough. All right, we killed the point. Let's hear what Tibbs.
Big Bubba's pissed off. Big Bubba's
Man,
pissed
be
off.
quiet. Next thing you know, Josh is gonna ask you if you're gonna eat your cornbread. Anyway, let's hear what Tibbs had to say about Frank Ntilikina. One last guy to argue about. Actually, I'm going to get to a phone call first, and then we can go ahead and argue about that. Caller, you live. What's popping?
What's going on? What's going on? How you doing?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm all right, brother. I'm all right.
Yeah, so what's going on with you, man? Can you turn that down in the back some?
Yeah, absolutely. Not bad. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, you guys were talking about Kevin Knox and R.J. Barrett. And, I just feel like the Knicks don't develop players enough. If you look at through the, history of the organization, at least in the last 10 years, there's no player development. I'm going to say Kawhi Leonard, for example. Kawhi Leonard averaged pedestrian numbers his first few years in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got to give these guys time to develop. All right, Kevin Knox has been there a little while. I can understand the pros and the cons with him, but R.J. Barrett, you got to give him time to develop. I think he was snubbed as far as some of the rookie voting. I guess you guys feel a little bit the same way, but he's nowhere on the talent level as a John Morant or a Zion. He still needed development. Even, when he was in college, you could see that. These guys were all world talents. These guys were NBA ready. R.J. Barrett, one day maybe, James Harden or somebody or whatever, but he needs years to develop. He needs that development, and I don't think our organization develops players enough. Kevin Knox lacks confidence. Mitch is Mitch. You a center, you athletic, but that's what I feel. I don't know if you guys could, chime in on that.
I agree. I mean, I think hopefully the regime that we have now and the coaching staff that they have now, they put together a team that can help develop some players, like really develop some players, and really help them work on their fundamentals, the fundamentals of the game. But historically, the Knicks have gotten impatient. I thought we were on the right track with Phil Jackson. Then all of a sudden, he gets a little bit impatient. And
Sam, say that again?
I said I thought we were on the right track with Phil Jackson. Right? And then I mean, you laughing, but to me, Phil Jackson had the right ideas in mind. Right? Let's put together a system, a way that we play, a philosophy of play. Right? The triangle or not. Don't have to be the triangle. A philosophy of play so that we can fit guys into this philosophy of play. Right? And we can, and so now when we're going out to get free agents, when we're going out to get draft picks, we say, we need this type of guy to fit this kind of system because this is what we're doing. Right? And you can still play and still have superstars within a system. Right, because the system will break down, and you got your superstars that can do what they're going to do. I thought they were on the right track, the idea, and then they sold out. They traded Robin Lopez. They traded Jerry Grant. That's Jerry Grant, whatever. But then they brought in Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, right, so that they can try to win right now. Instead of continuing to try to build. What was his idea? We're going to install a system. We're going to save our draft picks, right? And then we're going to draft the kind of players that we need, trade for the kind of players that we need. Instead, he sold out what he was trying to do.
Sam, I think the Knicks were in better shape prior to Phil Jackson. When they got rid of everyone that was around Carmelo. Hold on, let me finish. I think the Knicks were in better hands when Mike Woodson was the coach and Carmelo Anthony was the best player on the team and they were going to the playoffs every single year. I think they were in better shape at that point. Even though they got rid of a lot of those draft picks, although they got rid of a lot of those draft picks, I still felt like the Knicks were in better shape because they were winning. They were successful in the playoffs. Even though they get bounced in the first or second round, they still were winning games. And they could have kept building around Carmelo Anthony.
Hold on. They were winning temporarily, as you saw. They were winning temporarily. And they had no way to get better because they had no cap flexibility. They had no draft picks to use for trades. They were strapped. They couldn't do anything.
But they
had no way to get better.
They still could have held on to Carmelo Anthony because he was getting them to the playoffs every year, no matter what. He was getting them to the playoffs, and they had Mike Woodson. Why'd they fire Mike Woodson?
Bro, they clearly didn't get to the playoffs every year because the year that Mike Woodson got fired, they didn't make the playoffs that year.
But what I'm saying is they still should have kept Mike Woodson. They were closer to the playoffs than what they are now.
I mean, I agree. I liked Mike Woodson, right? But you know what? It was probably time. They had old players. They had no draft picks. They had no salary cap flexibility. You weren't going to do anything but stay at 8th seed. Exactly. So he said, he tried to break it. Well, he re-signed Melo. Right, and when he re-signed Melo, then it was like, whoa, we got to trade for Derrick Rose. We got to do this. But for a while, he was on the right idea. Even though Melo was there, he was on the right idea. He got some players. He was saving the draft picks. Wasn't trading any draft picks. He had some guys that was just kind of middle of the way, but they were cleaning up the cap, trying to get that cap right. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of led to where we are now. Yeah, we don't have a great team. And I get that, but when we do finally get better, we are going to have the ability to add more players, continue to have draft picks so that we can get better in the future because financially we are right. We had to dig ourselves
out. Did Phil
out.
Jackson make the trade for Bargnani?
Did who?
Did Phil Jackson make the trade for Bargnani?
No, he did not. No, he did not.
That was before Phil.
That was before Phil Jackson.
Okay.
That was before Phil.
Enough.
I don't know. Let's talk about Frank. Phil Jackson's pick in the draft. Frank Ntilikina. And the enigma that is Frank Ntilikina. This is Tom Thibodeau.
Really good days of practice so far. I hope he can sustain
wrong one. This is Frank.
Obviously, we didn't have a lot of time this summer to spend around each other, but I'm getting to know him now, and there's things that he does very, very well. He's got good size. He's versatile defensively, and he works hard. So, I want to see what he can do. I like Frank.
And look, it's hard to get a read on Tom Thibodeau on any of the players, right? But Andy, do you think that Tom Thibodeau is going to take a liking to Frank and utilize Frank for what he is?
That it's like, Sim, I think people are saying that.
We got it.
Yeah. So, basically, like I said before, I think Thibs is like you said, really hard to read. I'm not sure that those were the best comments Frank could hear from Thibs. I would rather, hear Thibs going straight out, words like, I'm going to use Frank as this, and this. Maybe in the lineup, maybe with these kind of guys in the lineup and stuff. I'm going to read it as not the best comments on Frank as a Tips guy. He said he loves him, but he didn't have the chance to work with him. No, I think you could find, a chance to work with Frank. And I don't know if it's the Tips, maybe, not wanting to work with Frank, but, just thinking about it, that if you really wanted to work, I think you could find the time for both guys to work it out and stuff. So I'm not like I'm worried, but I'm also not afraid about Frank, and I think he's going to get minutes. Just I would, like a more clear response from Tibbs about the guys.
Just thinking about it, that
I mean, do you think that, I mean, do with all the COVID rules and this and that, maybe that's something that prevented him from getting a chance to really work with
of course, but we saw how he spoke about Obi and about RJ. It's definitely not the same category we heard about.
That's true. That's true. That's real true. That's real true. Because when he spoke about Obi's, eyes lit up. Speak about RJ's eyes kind of light up.
Even he talked about Knox as well, right? I think he had more of a clear comment on Knox's game than on Frank's game, I would say, because he said he made it clear for Knox, if he's going to be taking only good shots, he's going to be making them and he's going to be playing. If he's going to take those, BS shots, not from ready positions with a defender in his face, he's not going to be getting that much chances.
Yeah. So what would you have liked to hear him say about Frank?
I didn't expect him to say that he's going to be, my starting point guard or stuff like that. If he would say like, I'm going to use Frank. Like if he would say, I'm going to use Frank as a multi-tool guy on this team, guarding many positions, sometimes playing the point guard, sometimes playing the off guard, even the small forward, because he can guard all those three positions. He's going to be a key player in the rotation for me. That would be more satisfying for me and for Frank, right? So
right.
That would be better for as that standpoint.
And with Frank, the Knicks have until December the 22nd or December?
No, I think they
December 23rd?
They moved the extension date you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the extension date to extend his contract.
I think they moved it a little bit later. It's not like just before the season. So I think they have at least a couple of games under their belt to make it.
But either way, the Knicks are going to have to make a decision before we get to free agency again.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether or not they're going to extend Frank Ntilikina, if they're going to offer him a qualifying offer, or whatever is going to happen.
Yeah.
Or trade him.
Yeah. True.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And maybe it's because, listen, RJ's only been in the league for a year. Obi's new. He's a rookie. Right, he's seen Frank for a little while.
Yeah,
he may not have seen him up close, but he's seen him for a little while, so maybe he kind of knows what he has in him.
Yeah, and Sim, for sure he saw Frank. Even from scouting reports from before taking the job, right? He didn't jump into the job not knowing what kind of players he has, right? And for Frank is one of those guys that lacks confidence on this team, right? So if you do that. Even meantime the camp, right? And even if you don't stick maybe to the promises, because he did, I'm not asking him to name him a starter, right? Just tell him that you're going to be a rotation player, stuff like that. And rotation players, means that you're on the court. It doesn't mean you play 30 minutes. You can be a rotation player and play 10 minutes a game.
Right.
If you give that to him now, he's gonna feel that that push and that that confidence from the coach in him, right? So I think that's a player that could benefit from that kind of pep talk, and also Kevin Knox would benefit from that kind of pep talk.
Yeah, okay. I ain't heard from Joe in a while, so I'm coming to you, Joe. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you to unmute yourself. I'm gonna do these super chats real quick. Shout out to Justin. He was saying. And this was from a long time ago. He said, that's nonsense. This screws things up when rumors come out and it kills off the actual business. Talking about all these rumors that are coming out of camp. And then Pedro, Joe, he said, you want DSJ to be our lead fast break guy when he can't shoot, doesn't D up, and hasn't been a distributor. But hey, he runs fast, so. And then big shout out to Die Hard Knicks podcast, man. Thank you for the super chat. But go ahead, Joe. I don't know if you want to respond to Pedro or not, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do is they're going to Tibbs like DSJ from they come out and said it even before he was brought to the Knicks or when he was even going into the draft. So I think he sees something in him. I think he's the most explosive guard. He's going to kind of try and use him. I'm not saying he's going to be Derrick Rose, but in that system, that type of point guard. As for Frank, I think what they're going to try and use Frank is more like a 3-and-D player. They're going to try and get a shot going, and that's what I believe they should do, is just have him constantly working on his three-point shot and use him as more like a 2 guard and play spot minutes at the 1. But I think eventually Frank's going to be like a 3-and-D role player. That's my thought on Frank. I also wanted to mention about what Josh and the caller was saying about with Knox. The guy was talking about Knox's motor. Knox's motor, I don't think was ever the problem. I think it was his confidence. So they have to give the guy, he has to get his confidence back. And what Josh is saying about RJ, that's ridiculous. You look at what you look at what Ja Morant had. Ja Morant had Jar Jackson. He had Valanciunas. He had what do you call him? Clark. He had Brooks. He had a better team set around him. Zion had the same thing. He had Brandon Ingram. He had a proper point guard in Lonzo Ball. He had a better team around him. Look what RJ had. Drew Holiday. Yeah, exactly. Look who RJ had. RJ had fucking Bobby Portis and Julius Randle.
Keep it clean, keep it clean. This ain't Knicks at night. You can do it on Knicks at night. I'm trying to keep it clean here.
Yeah. Sorry. But, like, look who he had. He had Randle. He had no space. Like, he's a slasher, needs spacing. He was given no spacing. He was put in a bad system, bad coaching. You put him in where he has spacing and he has the right coaching, he's going to flourish. That's the difference between what the Grizzlies had good coaching and better players, and so did the Pelicans. The Pelicans they just fired their coach, but they still had a decent coach that had a system. Fizdale had no system. Fizdale was just, the kids were like in a playground with Fizdale. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted. And then the kids, they ruined the kids' confidence. They put DS in his own problems, but they put him at the bottom of the bench. The same with Knox. They set up all their young players to fail. And that's why RJ is going to come back this year. And I believe RJ, if he fixes his free throws and he has more spacing, he's going to average 20 points easily.
Yeah, listen, if he hits some free throws and he knocks down that 3, easily average 20. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, you live, my man. How you feeling?
Hey, Sim, I'm pretty good. Can you hear me, I guess?
Yep, we can hear you.
Good. Just calling in, I mean, you have the patience of a saint, because I'm not sure how you can listen to Josh and deal with some of that nonsense that he's talking about. He's way off. Facts are not even close. Let's take Frank Ntilikina just for a quick instance.
Okay.
Frank never started, of course, when he was in France. So to start comparing him to guards who had been starting, Luka had started for maybe 3 or 4 years and played a lot of minutes and played basically, he ran and controlled that teams that he was on. He was a prodigy. Total 2 different animals. When Frank came in, he was a project. We knew he was a project. He was 19 years old. Let's go back and let's dial it back even from there. Let's look at the Knicks and a whole. And as far as the organization really never had a team to develop people. That's a known fact. So let's look at even going back even to KP. So let's look at even when KP was at the point, his brother was doing the training, as opposed to where most teams will have somebody come in and say, hey, listen here, this is what you need to work on, give you a person, and instruct you into a system that will hopefully advance you further. So I get it, you know what I mean, at the point where maybe, you know what I mean, Josh, he looks at things maybe like in where he sees it in a flash, but he can't see the big picture, because the things that he's saying is that, oh, yeah, we were good making the playoffs the 1 year that we made the playoffs, because I'm a big-time Knicks fan. So the 1 year that we made the playoffs, and we should have continued like that, we would have never gotten to a point of a championship at all, period, point blank. We had, like you said, no cap space, no money, nothing to do anything, no players to come here. nothing. But yet, if we would have continued on that same road, we would never get to a point of a championship. So to me, looking at Josh is like the kind of guy, like, you know, you're playing chess with, because you throw your queen out there. He's the guy, he'll snap your queen, but then didn't realize the next move, boom, checkmate. So he's that kind of guy where it wasn't his. So I guess you have him on the show to get a point of reaction, because anything that he's actually saying has no fact point to it at all. I mean, he's literally terrible at it. He makes comparison between a point guard and a three. Total two different animals. That's like saying, okay, yeah, I got a quarterback and I got a tight end. Okay, well, the tight end's going to make this whole team transcend. I don't think so. That quarterback is going to make that point of that transition here. And as far as like a whole team, you'd like your whole team to develop, not one person. So we're not going to put this all on RJ. We're going to try to put this on a full team development, hopefully, and then continue on from there. That's all I really wanted to say, and then I'll hang up from here and listen to
appreciate
you,
you, man. Hey, wait till you hear his political takes.
Oh, listen, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, he I mean, I get what he
He's a
feels
good
out
guy,
some of these-
man.
No, he's probably a great guy. I mean, you know what I mean? He's got a great smile. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I appreciate the gender and the candor and the stuff that he throws out there. But actual facts and other stuff, no. He is like one of these, you know, these Knicks fans that out here that's just running to like, oh, look, there's a shiny light. I'll take that. But have no real concept of actually putting it all together. Yeah. And he's terrible. But, hey, thanks, brother.
You, man.
I appreciate your show. I watch all the time, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to unmute Josh and Tony. Figured Josh might want to, you know, say a little quick piece. You know, he just got blasted, and then I'll you know, unmute Big Bubba.
You go first, Josh. Go ahead and respond to that caller.
Real quick. I mean, listen, I'm used to it already. I mean, like I said, I just want to see the Knicks win. I'm tired of believing everything that you know people are putting out there about the Knicks doing this and the Knicks doing that when they lose 60 games a year and they lose almost every game by 20 or 30 points. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, I want to respond to Joe. Because Joe was mentioning, you know, Memphis versus the Knicks and their rosters. Both rosters were not that good, and I feel like if Ja Morant was on the Knicks and the roles were reversed and RJ Barrett was on Memphis wouldn't have been in playoff contention. That's the second thing I want to say. The third thing that I want to say is that, guys, again, no one is saying that I'm giving up on the kids and that I'm not, you know, I don't want to see development happen here, but I just feel like at some point. We got to stop talking about, you know, what's going to happen next year. Okay, so I have a rhetorical question, and this goes directly out to Joe. So, you said that RJ Barrett didn't have the type of team that allowed him to be successful. Do you feel like they have that now? Yes, a thumbs up or thumb down. So they do. Okay. So at the end of this season, if you're still around at the end of this upcoming season, and we don't see the type of progress that we need to see from RJ Barrett, I want to see exactly what you're going to say. Okay, because if you guys feel like RJ Barrett has the type of team around him right now to be successful, and the development staff is in place, and all of that, at the end of this upcoming season, let's see what the verdict is. Okay, because I honestly don't believe that anything will change with this Knicks team. At least not this year. They don't have the roster for it. That's just my opinion. That's all I gotta say.
All right, go ahead, Tony.
All right. First off, I'm gonna say shout out to Evergreen. I need everybody to go to the MBKFam.com website. Check out his article. It's a good article. As far as Frank Ntilikina and Tibbs' take, very concerning. It's kind of like when I ain't gonna call nobody out. It's kind of like when somebody brings their girl around and then they, you know, your friends ask about it and they be like, "Oh, she got a nice personality." You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to say nothing mean, so you just try to think of what you can't say that's nice. So yeah, I'm a little concerned with that, but I think he still has a good opportunity because of his defense, because He could defend multiple positions. I think it's going to boil down to Frank's willingness to accept whatever role is given to him. Basically like everybody else, you got to buy in. It may not be at the position you want. It may not be starting or the exact role you want. But if you buy in, I think that's the best opportunity he's gonna have to succeed. I had a third point. I can't remember. I'll get back to you with it.
Just blame me, Tony. Just blame me.
Go ahead, Big Bubble. Go ahead.
Listen, man. I'll forget about it.
Forget about what? What was you gonna say?
Big Bubba. Yeah, I'm gonna fight everybody. Don't worry. I'm gonna fight everybody.
That's your new nickname now. It's kind of done.
Nah, it ain't done. I'm done. It ain't done.
Anyway. Isaiah, real quick, because I remember. I don't want to forget. I'm sorry. I apologize.
What do you think?
So Josh, actually, everybody, I've been talking to Sim, and I've been trying to get him to do this special coach's corner, kind of breaking down the way RJ and Toppin could work together, similarly to Duke with Zion and RJ Barrett. So and then directly to Josh, if we could get this video done, I think you'll notice that RJ was actually the go-to guy in Duke. Zion got all of the hype. Zion, if you follow Duke, I think they made each other better. I think it made it a lot easier having Zion down there. But I think RJ actually made Zion better as well. So I think as far as you saying, like, how can we see RJ make people better? I think with Toppin, I think those two can fit together and complement each other. And I think Toppin might actually be the guy that everybody looks at. But I think RJ would still be that guy. That was my third thing. Go ahead, Isaiah. I apologize.
Thank you, Tony, for allowing me to do this. No, so just to chime in.
What was that for allowing me to do this?
I don't know. I didn't want to do that because he don't allow enough. No, so no, that's funny. Nah, but so just to chime in what Tony was saying, which I think is really what's really going to be important, especially with RJ and Toppin, is that we've seen what RJ Barrett can do with an ultra athletic power forward. And, the partnership between those two were really good. Now, what sucked with Duke was that what they needed was everybody else to be shooters. They needed a stretch. They needed the point guard and the shooting guard or the small forward and their guys to shoot so that they can dish it out. But again, I'm excited for that. And then also just to talk about the Frank thing, I'm not really worried about the Frank thing a lot with Thibs. I think Thibs is going to be the kind of guy where you're not going to know until like he says it. You know what I'm saying? And to me, he's reminded me of Coach Judge a lot. Sorry to put the Giants in there because the Giants are doing really good. But even I don't know if people really were paying attention, but when Coach Judge was starting in the beginning of training camp, he didn't even call Daniel Jones a starter. He wouldn't even call Daniel Jones by his name. So I don't really give that much. Not to go against you, Andy, but I don't really give it that much energy with Thibs not being overly excited about Frank, because I think Frank game's going to speak for itself. I mean, we look at the history of Tom Thibodeau. He loves guys like Frank. Okay. He loves guys like that plays that one or two that can defend, and do what he had. He had those kind of guys. He had what's that white boy from
Kirk Hiron?
Yes, Kirk Hiron. He loved those guys. He loved those. He would have had Ron Baker on his team. I love Ron Baker. He would have had Ron Baker on his team, but he's going to have a guy. Frank is going to be that kind of guy. So I'm not really worried about Frank in an interview. I think again, Frank game is going to speak for itself. And then again, like you said before, Tony, if you give RJ Barrett a guy like this, who's overly athletic and can finish at the rim, that'd be a deadly pick and roll. And then he can dish it out to like Alec Burke, Austin Rivers, and those guys. Again, right? I think despite Josh hating on him, RJ Barrett is going to have a good season. And that season to me, like for him, if he can get to like 18 points or something like that, 20 points, I think Josh got to kiss the ring.
Well, listen. Let's take a quick peek into training camp.
Evergreen, my brother, what's up?
We're gonna take a quick peek into training camp. All right, and I want you guys to tell me what you see and what you get from this picture that I'm bringing across the screen. Tell me what you get from this, ladies and gentlemen. Take a good look. Tell me what you get from it. Can you guys see it over there?
I see Peyton playing some defense.
What you guys get from this screen? I'm going to tell you what I get from it. What I see is that RJ Barrett is wearing blue.
Mm-hmm.
Nerlens Noel is wearing blue.
Julius Randle.
Elfrid Payton is wearing blue. Julius Randle is wearing blue. That looks like the blue squad right now, at least in today's scrimmage. Right? That looks like maybe that's a clue into a possible starting unit. Right? I show that one more time. You see Elfrid Payton wearing blue, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Nerlens Noel. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 players. It's hard to say who the fifth player is that might be wearing blue. But you figure, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist got on green.
You know they did that on purpose.
Right, he got on green. So you said you don't see what?
You don't see Toppin at all. You know they did that on purpose.
You don't see Toppin at all, but in other pictures he's wearing white.
Okay.
In other pictures he's wearing white. Right, so you know what I mean that could be a possible clue. Now, who would be the shooting guard in this situation? I would think it would probably be right now. Austin Rivers, he's not practicing much because he has a groin injury.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God,
so he's not practicing much. So who might be the shooting guard here? It could be Alec Burks. It could be Reggie Bullock.
I'll be fine with. I'll be honest with you. I'll be fine with either one starting, either Reggie Bullock or Alec Burks. I think Alec Burks a little too short to play that 2. I think he's a 6'1" or is he 6'1" or 6'2"?
Alec Burke? I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", man.
Oh, he's 6'5", 6'6"? I thought he was shorter than that. I thought he was a small guard. But if he's 6'5", then I'll be comfortable with Alec Burks starting.
Yeah, Alec Burks is like 6'5", 6'6". 6'6".
Oh, okay.
He's 6'6".
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
6'6",
okay. I didn't know.
6'6", 214 pounds.
Oh, he got good size.
Yeah. So, take that from what, take from it what you will.
Sim, you know Kev's driving to Westchester right now. You know Kev is driving to Westchester right now about to kill Tom Thibodeau for having Nerlens Noel starting.
I'm just saying, I mean, listen. That's just the second day of practice. He could have had a totally different lineup out there the first day. You never know. Let me get the Evergreen. I ain't heard from Evergreen in a minute. Let me get the Evergreen. And by the way, like Tony said, ladies and gentlemen, go to nbkfam.com. We've revamped the website. It's better. We got articles up there, and we're looking for more people that want to write articles. But you got to be able to write. You can't come in with gibberish, and just throwing some gibberish up there. We want good articles. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff that just updates you on the news, but we also want some good original stuff like Evergreen wrote. So go check it out, nbkfam.com. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you can go and check out some of the articles that are there. Right now, it's limited articles, but it's going to grow.
Tim, did you tell him what I wrote? You told him what I wrote, right?
Yeah, that was the gibberish I was talking about.
The recipe, but that's not on this webpage.
I was trying to save it, so I didn't tell anybody.
First of all, you can color with my articles. You can color my articles.
You know what I'm saying? But well, actually, let me get to the caller Evergreen because he's been on hold for a minute. Then I'm gonna get to you. Caller, you live? What's popping? Caller, you there?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, what's going on with you, brother? Yep, I can hear you.
Hey, how you doing, man? First time, long time, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Brothers doing good work.
Thank you.
So let me just say, I'm a OG Knicks fan. from back in the 70s, my brother and me were listening to the Knicks win the championship in 1970. And then we saw the game on tape delay at 11:30. So that's how far I go back. So I just want to say that we all need to be, a little patient, let these young guys develop. And I say from a perspective of being a Knicks fan for, over 55 years, we've not had any real stability in our organization since Pat Riley, Jeff Van Gundy. They both had the same kind of philosophy. So I put them together as one. And before that, it was Red Holzman. And so the only way we're going to progress as a team is that we have stability, first from the management and then the coaches. And that's what causes our players to develop properly. And then the other thing is, all the young guys we have now, they're not gonna stay with us for the whole time until we win a championship or whatever. They're going to be stepping stones. So it might be 2 or 3 guys that stay with us for 2 or 3 years, and then they get moved, and some new guys can come in. But we're still building on a foundation that's going to hopefully get us to where we need to go. So what I'm saying is just let these guys develop. Looks like we have finally some stability with the coaching and the front office and the management, because we didn't have that. We've had like 4 or 5 coaches in the last 4 or 5 years, and I don't think anybody can develop any kind of players when you have that many coaches, that much uncertainty in the organization. Nobody can develop under that. And if you look at all the successful teams, they've had stability in the organization. They've had a system in place where the guys can develop and grow and become good players. And if not, they get traded and we bring in some other pieces. But let's let these guys kind of develop and grow and see what they can do. To me, that's the exciting part of it. We got some young guys. Let's see what we got. Let's see how they develop. And then we move on from year to year and see how we can grow and develop.
All right. Hey, I'm with it 100%, man. 100%. Yeah. I appreciate your call, bro.
All right. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you being patient, too. Appreciate it.
All right. No problem.
All right. Evergreen, man. Let me come back to you. Let me get you unmuted. If I can, there we go. Got you unmuted. Go ahead.
All right. Well, peace and love to the chat. First and foremost, I want to say, anybody that's hating on Josh right now, you got to cut it out. That's not your job. That's my job, okay? Y'all got to stop. You got to stop. Because when it's time for me to point out some crazy stuff that he says, it's just not going to be fun, right? It's fun. And y'all are not making it fun. So now I'm going to defend him. I'm not going to defend none of his points, but I'm going to defend the fact that y'all need to leave him alone. I'm the only guy that can bully up on him, all right? Not for nothing. Now, this is specifically to Josh when it comes to RJ, or just when it comes to the team in general. When because you had mentioned something in regards to RJ being successful, in response to Joe, and the problem with which has been consistent. The problem with these vague ideas is that we haven't put a real definition on what success actually means for a player like RJ in his current given situation. So we get before we start putting on these crazy asterisks about what means that a player is successful, we got to analyze what's actually going on with the team and what our expectations are given the current talent on the roster, right? So if someone was to say, based off of this year, we would expect RJ to average 15, 5, and 5 as a starting small forward or the starting shooting guard, would you consider that to be, and then again, this is rhetorical, but would anyone consider that to be a successful season, right? So, and really that goes to speak on everybody on this team, right? Are we going to measure the players' individual successes, or are we here as Knicks fans to measure whether this team is winning or not? And that goes all the way back to the problem where you had mentioned, specifically for Josh, where you had mentioned we were under and I'm paraphrasing, we were under a better tutelage under Phil Jackson and Mike Woodson, or at least specifically Mike Woodson, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, because we were winning, which goes right back to what Sim was saying. Yeah, we won. Yeah, we made it to the playoffs. Yeah, we got eliminated to Indiana due to Amari Stoudemire punching a fire extinguisher and busting his knee open. But the problem with that is that we leveraged the entire future to get Carmelo Anthony. So even if we would have won or got further in the round, we probably would have got eliminated by Miami. But the bigger issue is the next season comes around and we don't have any money or anybody to draft because we leveraged the entire future to sign one player. So it's not just about the player development and the players doing well. It's also about the organization and their ability to be competent with what they're doing in the front office, with the way they develop players. So the reason this argument of developing players keeps recycling is because we haven't had any player development. We could easily say since Van Gundy been gone, we haven't had any real player development, which goes back to a point that I've mentioned earlier with Clay Anthony Early. Again, he was a bum, but he said that they didn't have a player development staffed in. How many years ago was that? 6 or 7, 8 years ago, right? So my point is we have to stay the course under this player development situation. But the player development is not an individual thing. It's a team thing, which again goes right back full circle again, and it makes us say, well, what makes RJ having a successful season, right? So we have to be able to define that without jumping straight to large conclusions about what everybody's opinion is going to be with an individual player, with their individual success. It's not about individual success, and that's the problem that the majority of losing teams get. They look at their people like Trae Young and they say, oh man, this dude is super good. He's developed, but the rest of their team is trash. We look at a guy like John Morant, like, yeah, he can only push their guys so far. We look at a guy like Luka and they say, he's a superstar, he's super developed, but the rest of his team is trash. So we have to stay the course with the team development so that we can eventually be like your Golden States, your Torontos, your San Antonios that are consistent, where we don't have to continuously leverage our future. I'm done.
Okay. And if you guys like that rant, make sure you go to nbkfam.com and check out Evergreen's article. It's up there right now. What's the name of it? What's the name of it again? Hold up. Let me get the name of it for you so you know what I'm talking about. You can't unmute yourself, so make sure you go check out the article, nbkfam.com, for the cognizant Knicks fan. It's right there, and there's going to be plenty more articles up there, ladies and gentlemen. We just revamped the site. It's brand new. There's still some areas we got to grow. All of the NBK creators are going to be listed on the site, so you can go there and check out all of the NBK creators. Of course, there'll be stuff listed about the Knicks, the schedule, the roster, the salaries. You got the 365 Knicks page, and we got apparel, NBK apparel, tickets, but you can't buy no tickets right now. We'll be doing some, and we're getting ready to launch some fantasy leagues, so be ready for that. Probably by the next stream, we'll have some links to some fantasy leagues that you can jump into. But I got another picture I want to toss up here for you guys to look at. All right, we just took a look at this picture here. Some people said they're reading into it. Some people said they're not reading into it. You see Elfrid Payton, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Nerlens Noel. Well, who else was in there? Let's check it out. The other guy that's in there, Alec Burks.
Hey, there we go.
And guess what? That's a lineup that makes sense. Alec Burks can shoot the ball, whether you got him playing at the 3 or the 2. Right? Him and RJ can be interchangeable. He can shoot the ball. Now, Elfrid Payton's not really much of a shooter. You're hoping that RJ Barrett can shoot the ball. You're hoping that if you're looking at that lineup, you're hoping that Julius Randle will be able to shoot the ball a little bit. Nerlens Noel can at least knock down a mid-range shot. Take from it what you will. Listen, this may not be the starting lineup
But you know what? Those crazy though, Sim. Just to chime in real quick. People would have a complaint about that, right? But I'm not gonna lie to you, Sim. I'm not complaining about a second unit with Frank, Austin, Bullock, Toppin, and Mitch. That's one hell of a second unit.
Well, and from the looks of it, some of the other pictures that I've seen, Frank Ntilikina had on a white uniform, white jersey. Kevin Knox had on a white jersey. Austin had on a white jersey. Obi had on a white jersey. You would assume that Mitch also would have been in that group.
Yes, Tim, you can't complain about a second unit like that.
Young guys, old guys, except for RJ, is in the starting group with the older guys. But young guys, old guys, hey, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I didn't see DSJ. Doesn't mean anything. He could have just not played today. All right, so, for what it's worth, that's what it is right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's as much as we can say about lineups, but I do want you to take a listen to Tom Thibodeau as he speaks about the starting lineups. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, I haven't settled on a starting rotation. I think everything's up for grabs. Starting, finishing, rotation. So I think we'll get those answers as we go. And if you start off, you're not in the rotation. I think, what I've found over the years is that at some point everyone will get an opportunity to be in the rotation. So you just have to be ready. But we'll make those decisions based on performance and what fits the team the best. Yeah, I haven't settled.
And so, we will find out. We will find out what he's thinking, and if maybe that's just a lineup that he was trying. Right? Divine, coming to you, man. You just joining us. And we only got a few minutes left. We got a few minutes left. Let me shut up Big Bubba. Divine, what's going on, man?
And how you doing, fellas? What's up to the chat, everybody? Hit them thumbs up for your boy Sim. I'm good, Sim. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Feeling pretty good. Just happy to be able to be on here talking about the New York Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so tell me, man, what do you think about stuff coming out of training camp so far?
I mean, so far so good. I mean, it seems like it's being competitive out there. I like the way things are formed because you got competition at every spot from 1 to 5 is competition there. Who's gonna start? I couldn't tell you, but I'm excited about it though. I mean, I like that 5 spot as well, battling Mitchell Robinson. I like the Obi Randall thing, Knox and Bullock. I mean, you got a lot of competition out there. I would like to see the draft at 5 start. Me personally, Frank, RJ, Knox, Obi, and Mitch. I call it the draft at 5. that's my dream start lineup for this year. But though it's not going to be like that, I'm pretty excited about it, man. We got a lot of competition out there. Tibbs, he's setting the culture for us, man. You're talking about defense first, and that's what he's going to bank off of. So I think we're going to be all right, though. I think we got a good thing going on there. I just want to really see that preseason get started so we can see who really going to be putting himself out there.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt about that, man. You take anything from those pictures that I just showed that could possibly be a starting 5? You think that's the 5?
I don't think so because I think it's too early to me personally. I think he probably was putting the team together, but I know it's hard to say for 1 or 2 days of training camp. So to be honest with you, I couldn't say. But I know Alfred probably going to start though. I would say that much.
The only thing is it's 1 or 2 days of training camp. The only thing with that is we play Friday, so
yeah, right.
they're on microwave time right now. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they play Friday, so they got to figure out something quick.
I heard something on another chat that somebody was telling me that they say that they heard that it's just probably rumors. It's either between DSJ and Alpha Payton starting. Now you're hearing that over the chats on other stations, but it's possible though.
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible that either one of those 2 guys could be started. And I'm sure he's going to run through different lineups to figure out exactly what he wants to do. Andy, you take anything from it?
Sim, just let me plug in something. The Knicks just signed Skal Labissière. I don't know this guy. How do you pronounce his surname? He's French, a former Kentucky player, played center, and they signed him to an Exhibit 10 contract, probably to figure out, on the training roster, and also a former Celtic first-round pick, Jones, I think was.
Yeah.
Let me check that up. Yeah. So James Young. Yeah.
He was with the Celtics or something?
Yeah, he was a former first round pick from the Celtics. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Two guys that'll most likely be in Westchester.
Yeah. But I was thinking that the center position is kind of slim, as long as the training camp goes. Even if you put in, Omari Spellman as a center, right? I don't think he got any kind of skill set like guarding that kind of big man like we have like in Mitch and Noel's, because he's like 6'9". And those guys are over 7 feet tall, so it's really hard, I think, for him to even compete in a training camp. That's why they signed a big man, just to bounce with those guys around. About the lineups and about the photos, we'll see. The first, preseason game is Friday, and after that preseason, we still won't know, because in the second game, Tibbs might tweak the lineup. And, it depends what kind of tactic and philosophy he's going to stay with, or he's going to build that chemistry up as big as possible, even in those preseason games and in training camp, rolling with the same lineups, with all guys in all the practices and games. Or he's going to, look to tweak 1-2 guys, or he's going to rotate everybody around, just throw around and see what's going to work, right? So we're going to see how's that going to work for Thibs.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, man. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. We got, what we got? 3 days left, 4 days left until we finally get to training camp and actually get an idea of what this team might look like. Now, the one thing that I do notice with Alec Burks being in there, I mean, he could end up being a starter on this team.
Yeah.
If you need
Definitely.
shooting next to RJ and Julius Randle, he could end up being a starter.
True.
And of course, everything has to, while he could end up being a starter, everything has to do with who finishes the game. So, take it for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, and the Thibs can finish the game with the guys that actually had, the hot hand, the good game, and stuff like that. So it can be, not every game the same finishers. It can be like 2-3 main guys, and the other two that had a good game till like the last minutes of the game, right?
Yeah.
So.
And, of course, to dispel rumors and all that kind of stuff, the Knicks put out a video of Obi Toppin and Julius Randle, working on the jump hook, probably instituted by Kenny Payne. And they got the guys working on the jump hook, Julius Randle smiling and all that kind of stuff. So, they're looking to dispel any. Listen, I'll say this about the New York Knicks social media guys. They pay attention to what's happening on Twitter. They pay attention. We heard all this noise about Frank Ntilikina, all this stuff about Frank Ntilikina possibly getting moved or traded, or if they took down a video, they had a video of him shooting and they took it down. First thing in the morning, they say good morning and they show a picture of Frank Ntilikina shooting a jump shot. Right? They hear all the talk about Obi Toppin and Julius Randle, who's going to start, can they get along, this and that and all that. They put out a video of those two guys working on the jump hook together. They pay attention. They know what's happening. They know exactly what's going on, man. Anyway, fellas, it's been a fun show. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute everybody and give everybody a chance to get some last words in before we get out of here. Right, get some last words in before we get out of here. But we still gotta try to do it one at a time. You know, we can't just go crazy. Big Bubba, I'm gonna give you the chance, Big Bubba. Big Bubba Gump.
Listen, we are not keeping this nickname. Fighting people.
You know, why you don't like the nickname? What's wrong with the nickname?
I feel like I'm some fat dude from the South that sells shrimp or something. I don't know.
Meanwhile, you're from the North, right?
Right. I mean, you know, that was Bubba Gump. You're Big Bubba.
Big Bubba sound like I wear jean overalls and got. I don't know, man.
I mean, you look like a lumberjack.
Hey. Oh, that was funny, huh, Tony? That was funny, huh? Smack them headphones out that bald head, man. But you know, seriously though, man, great show tonight, man. Josh, we love you, man. You are when everybody goes right, you go left. I appreciate it. Shout out to Andy, man. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Tony. Cooking with Chef Jay, we're coming back, man. Just take a little quick hiatus, but we coming back, man. And you know what, Sim? I'm gonna announce what I'm gonna cook.
Go ahead. Announce it.
I'm gonna announce what I'm gonna cook.
All
right. So what we're gonna have on the menu next time, we're gonna have empanadas. We're gonna have stuffed empanadas, chicken and shrimp, with some rice and beans with some cilantro. It's gonna be good, man.
And you're gonna make all of that live?
So I was gonna ask.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. So a lot of that stuff's gonna
see that already. See, look.
I'm just going to the Spanish restaurant, man. Forget it.
Listen, you gotta be patient with this one. It's gonna take a little while. I'm gonna cook a few things before. It's gonna take a little while with this one. I'm not gonna lie. This one's probably about altogether like an hour and a half, 2 hour kind of cooking thing, but we're gonna shorten that to about 45 minutes. I got this.
Okay. All right.
And I'm gonna do the ingredients next Monday. We're gonna have the list of ingredients Monday. Then we're gonna cook this thing on Wednesday.
All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna watch them, ladies and gentlemen, because I think they sell empanadas at the Dollar Tree. So I'm gonna make sure he's not going and sneaking into the Dollar Tree and buying empanadas, and then he's gonna act like he made it. I'm watching him.
I'm gonna cook empanadas. Since everybody kills me, I'm gonna cook them fresh. Well, I cook everything fresh, but everything's gonna be handmade. I mean, I'm gonna get the shells, but everything's gonna be made freshly made by me.
Okay. All right.
Ma, we're gonna cook empanadas, Ma.
Tony, you wanna hit us with some last words, man?
As always, I appreciate you, man. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Sim, keep doing your thing. Uncle Fulio, we need to get this debate show going, man.
No, we got to get it, man. Flagrant foul with Josh and Tony. You know what I'm saying? We need to get that going this week. We need that this week. Flagrant foul with Josh and Tony.
And Evergreen, if I ever can't make it, you're gonna be my filling.
Yeah, there we go.
And good article, man. Good article.
Appreciate it.
Salute.
It was supposed to be flagrant foul with Tony and Mark, but I don't know where Mark is at. I don't know what's going on with Mark. So we just had to fill in with, Josh and Tony. Flagrant foul, Josh and Tony. Here's the concept of the show. We've talked about this. Is not new, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about this for a minute. And basically the concept of the show is we have like 3 topics and they get 7 minutes to debate the topics. And we have a timer behind us making sure that they don't go over the 7 minutes. Each of them get 2 minutes to say their piece, and then they got 3 minutes to just go ahead and go at it. And you guys vote on who won. Almost like, a debate between Biden and Trump. And then there's 3 rounds. And you guys vote on who's the winner. And it's like a 30-minute show. And there you go. Just some fun. Just good old-fashioned fun. And they're talking about the Knicks stuff, not anything. They're talking about the Knicks. And they can be as raw as they need to be. Flagrant foul with Josh and Tony. Let's get it. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have some fans who want to participate in this show, too. Some other Knicks fans that want to participate in this show, too. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, go ahead, Josh, man. You got some last words?
Yeah, real quick. I just want to say I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I know a lot of times it doesn't sound that way, but I've been a Knicks fan for a very long time, and I'm just tired of losing. All right. So for those who think that I'm just coming out of left field and you guys go right and I turn left and all that, I just want to see the Knicks win. And as a funny joke, because I wanted to respond to what Sim said about the Knicks PR, always following Twitter or paying attention to Twitter. I feel like they pay more attention to Twitter rather than they put a good basketball team on the floor. So that's just the way I feel about that. Okay.
Oh my God.
Now look. It's the truth. It's the truth. As always, for those out there who want to, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, follow me at Uncle Fulio. I'll put it in the chat, Uncle Fulio. I got a podcast coming soon, part of the MBK fam, Uncle Fulio, working on it. I'm gonna talk to Sim about that, and also Sim, I'm gonna draft up an article and I'm gonna send it to you because I want to post it on their website. So,
all right, sounds good, man. That sounds good. Big shout out to Die Hard Knicks podcast, part of the NBK fam. You know what I'm saying? Legion and Knicks not in here right now, but big shout out to Legion and Knicks. Big shout out to Knicks at Night. I know you guys would be jumping on that in probably, a couple of hours and be up to. Yo, check it out. I was on Knicks at Night with Big Freezy the other day, 3 o'clock in the morning. Got off at about 3:30. I wake up at 8 o'clock and he's still on. I'm like, what the hell is Freezy doing? He's tripping.
Corner in the market.
Still on, bro. I was like, Freezy is bugging. Freezy is bugging. All right, Joe. Go ahead, man. You got the mic, brother.
Yeah. No, I was saying about the Knicks at night. Yeah, some nights we might get off at 4 a.m. and then Freezy started a new Knicks in the morning show. So he starts at 8.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, he called it Knicks Morning Drive or something. I was like, yo, Freezy is bugging right now.
So we might get off at like 3:30, 4 in the morning, and then I look up and the first notification on my phone is Freezy's back up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, shit, that guy's doing a lot of stuff.
He's working.
No, he's doing out good content. Yeah, he's working.
Yeah, it's good content,
shout
man.
out to the chat. It's fun. But I want to shout out to the chat. Thanks for having me. It was a good show. Josh, I usually agree with some of the stuff you said. Like, I was all in on the Westbrook and trying to make this team better. But with your take today about RJ and Knox, and you completely lost me today, buddy. I'm sorry, but you got to be patient, my man. They're not spending stupid money. You got to just trust the process. So,
yeah. All right. Appreciate
all right, guys. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. Let me see who we got. Andy.
Yeah, like everybody said, Sim, it's always a pleasure joining the video chat, watching the chat, write their responses to our questions and topics, and, go back to the, Coach's Corner, enjoy the Orbit Open. And Sim, I think we need to make a Coach's Corner or a GM's Corner, how to build a successful franchise. So, some fans don't skip the steps like Josh thinks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
no doubt.
Happy to be here. It's almost 2 a.m. here, so I'm gonna hit the sack soon. But just gonna wrap up the show with you guys.
Yeah. Get some rest, man. Evergreen. Then I'm coming to Divine.
All right. So first off, shout out to the chat. Second off, just know, Andy, if we do a GM's Corner, we could all hope that we're not going to allow the Knicks media guy to coach the team, Josh.
Yeah.
All right, so that's not happening, right? So the media guy can continue to work on media stuff, and the coach can work on coaching. So just so that there's no confusion there, media guy, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Jesus Christ. Now I get it. Josh is a big fan. I'm a big fan too. But Josh, you got to go read that Cognizant Knicks article You might get something out of it. You might.
I'm reading it right now. I got it pulled up right now.
Hey, my guy.
There you go.
Support the channel. Support the channel.
No doubt.
Listen, we don't agree on Knicks stuff. We don't agree on Knicks stuff all the time, but I think me and you are very. We agree a lot on politics, so we can agree on that. So as soon as the front stoop opens up and we start having more political conversations, I'll be glad to jump on that panel with you.
Sounds good.
Hopefully today, I'll be able to write another article. If not, I'll have one up, by the middle of the week. So everybody look out for that. I don't even know what it's going to be about yet, but we'll figure it out. Some people in not this chat, but in the YouTube chat have pissed me off. So we're going to have some conversations there. Everyone's got to read. So Lord have mercy. Yeah, make my head hurt. But shout out to the chat.
I feel you. And Divine, go ahead, man.
All right, yo, peace out to the chat. Hey, Sim, thanks for holding us down for the last 9 months with no basketball at all, brother. It's been a blessing to have all the guys on here. Y'all see Mark out there. Worry about it, man. Y'all had you heard from the brother? We ain't heard from him in a minute. But
he's on Twitter.
He's on Twitter heavy. He's on Twitter heavy.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, that's good. As long as the brother's safe and everybody else out there during these COVID times. But, man, I'm excited about Friday Night Knicks on MSG this week, man. And Knicks basketball about to come back around the corner. Maybe sometime in January as I build the infrastructure to Knicks Real Talk. I'm going to get this podcast going hopefully in January.
There you go.
And hopefully I could bounce off of you, Sim, and feed off you and get some feedback from you. And but Knicks Real Talk is going to be just what it is, man. Knicks Real Talk. What we doing now. My inspiration comes from you guys. Listen to all us talk about this Knicks stuff, and it's a beautiful thing. But Friday Night Knicks, man, hit that thumbs up for your boy Sim. Peace out to everyone.
Appreciate it. And and I'm definitely going to be live during the game on Friday, man. Have a watch party on Friday, so that's going to be fun. That's going to be dope. No doubt. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up out of here. Normally, Josh is on every Tuesday on the front stoop with us when we just talk about whatever we talk about. He comes on with his, takes.
Like Candace Owens takes.
The Candace Owens takes. Exactly. Right. Comes on with the Candace Owens takes. You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
So now we got Josh on there and we got Evergreen on there. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be lightning in a bottle. That's gonna be a dope show. That's gonna be a dope show. Yeah. Anyway, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful. Thank you guys. Make sure you check out nbkfam.com. There's still some links on there that's not working fully because we're building it out. But it's going to be dope, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully we have it built out by the end of the week with all of, all the NBK fam on there and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you check it out. Get used to hearing it because we'll be shouting it out every show. We're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll probably come on tomorrow to do another training camp update anyway. But I'm out of here, y'all. Be peaceful. Rest easy. Make sure you check out Big Freezy tonight. I don't know if Legion of the Knicks is on, but he's probably going to be on a little bit later on today or tonight or whatever it is. I'm out.
Peace.